Buzz! Buzz! An overwhelming number of insects flew over from the sea and began to help eat the fortress. They gnawed faster than 10,000 snakes could destroy it. There is a price to pay for messing with Konoha. Although Orochimaru has no sense of belonging to Konoha, he still lives in Konoha now. And he suddenly had an idea, so Konoha would never be allowed to suffer defeat in his hands. On the sea, facing the counterattack of Konoha ninjas, the air ninjas who lost their advantage in the sky were quickly killed by Konoha ninjas, captured, and fled for their lives. The fortress was also destroyed on a large scale and slowly sank to the bottom of the sea. On the shore of hazy country, thousands of snakes were coiled aside. The other two giant pythons were severely injured and returned to Longdi Cave. Naoshu and the other two people were slightly injured, but the impact was not significant. Looking at the dozens of empty ninja prisoners in front of him, a Konoha ninja turned to Orochimaru and said respectfully, "Lord Orochimaru, how should we deal with these empty ninjas?" Orochimaru glanced at it. "Leave it to Wan Shi as a snack." After saying that, Orochimaru took his team and turned around to leave. "Hey, Orochimaru, I like your way of doing things." Wan Shi smiled ferociously, not caring at all about the horrified looks from both the enemy and ourselves, and swallowed these Kong ninjas one by one. As for those Kong ninjas who escaped, who has time to care about them? The empty ninja was destroyed like this. And the news quickly reached the ears of Suna Ninja and Iwa Ninja. When they learned the news, they were obviously a little surprised. I originally expected them to help with the delay, but I didn't expect that they would be defeated so quickly. Fortunately, they have used this time to regain a lot of disadvantages. Therefore, whether the Sora Ninja dies or is destroyed has little to do with them. It was only after Orochimaru returned to the camp that he learned that Tsunade's Suna Ninja defense line had also suffered a surprise attack from the Sora Ninja. It's just that the defense line on that side was further away from the Kong Ninja fortress, so the attacks it received were not as violent as their own. Orochimaru is not worried about Tsunade. With her own strength and immortal body, what if she can still be beaten to death by a Kong Ninja? That would really be a joke. As for the science and technology of Kong Ninja, Orochimaru did think about taking it back and taking a look before. But after some searching, I found that apart from this flying ability, the rest is really useless. Aircraft carrier? It was too expensive and too complex. Although it could play some role in the war, its role was not as great as imagined. ETA Euro trademark S not proportional to the hard work you put in. He had seen with his own eyes before that only one person from the Aberme clan came, but the insects were overwhelming. After these bugs arrived, they began to eat the metal on the fortress. The speed of eating metal is even faster than the speed of destruction by 10,000 snakes. So, build an aircraft carrier to make money? A waste of time and energy, not enough for other people's bugs to eat. The war with the Kong Ninja is over. There is no doubt that Orochimaru once again became Konoha's hero. Orochimaru should be popular among Konoha ninjas. Even the other three dragon ninjas were envied by their original companions because of this action. Of course, except for Orochimaru himself. The one who performed the most amazingly was Hinata Hinashi. Smart mind, calm analysis, and timely support. All of which prove his ninja talent. Although Naoki's performance is also very good, compared to Hinata Hayashi, it seems a bit insignificant. Perhaps, this is the difference between genius and super genius. Konoha Village, Hokage's office. The third Hokage, who learned the whole story, couldn't help but frowned. Although the battle was won, the Sand Ninja and Iwa Ninja, two big countries with deep conflicts, not only colluded with each other, but also hired ninjas from small countries? Why is that? He doesn't understand. Is there really something wrong with my management style? In order to find out the whole story, he called several other high-level officials of Konoha together. There are 4 people in total including the top management of Konoha and the third generation. They didn't even have a clue at first. Everyone is guessing whether they have some private deal? However, after one theory after another was overturned, Danzo, an ambitious man, spoke out about the possibility. They were afraid of Konoha's power and wanted to unite first to inflict heavy damage on Konoha and even destroy Konoha. Afraid of Konoha's power. Hearing this, everyone was stunned. Yes, the ninja tools and potions made by Orochimaru are indeed very threatening. When they were first made, even they were amazed by them. Not to mention detecting them on the battlefield. The enemy has arrived. It seems that this is the reason. Well, I think it should be. The matter has come to this, it is useless to say more, the battle must still be fought. Yes, it is our wish for the village to be strong, but when it becomes strong, it will make other villages jealous, which is also a force majeure factor. Third Hokage blew out a smoke ring. The Kong ninja has been solved by Orochimaru, and the situation on the front line has stabilized. Inform the commanders of the two defense lines and convene a Jonin meeting. Regarding this war, I would like to say a few words. Do you want to go to the battlefield in person in the third generation? Just go to the center point of the two lines of defense and set up a temporary meeting place, so as not to affect the battlefield situation. The third Hokage was going to hold a meeting for the Jonin. In order not to affect the battlefield, a temporary meeting place was set up at the center of the two defense lines. And it's not necessary for every Jonin to come, just 100 who are free can come. After all, the battlefield is the most important thing. Upon hearing the news, Tsunade on the Suna ninja defense line became excited. Because the battle on her side was not intense, and with her powerful medical capabilities, no new wounded had appeared for 2 days. She was completely free to attend this meeting. She believed that Orochimaru, who was on the IWA ninja defense line, would definitely attend this meeting. Because Orochimaru's strategic significance is not comparable to that of ordinary Jounin, it is simply unjustifiable for him not to go. In other words, after the two were separated for so long, she could finally see him. On the other side, Orochimaru was stunned when he heard that the third Hokage was going to hold a meeting about the war. Subconsciously, he looked at the rope tree not far away. I remember that during World War II, Konoha did hold a Jonin meeting. But only after the rope tree died. Now that Chenchu is standing in front of him, doesn't that mean that his destiny has been changed by him? Sensei, are you going to attend a Jonin meeting? Aware of Orochimaru's gaze, Naoki grinned and ran over. Orochimaru came back to his senses and nodded slightly. Well, what's wrong? When the teacher saw my sister, she made sure to put in a good word for me. Although I didn't make any great contributions this time, I didn't embarrass her. Naoki sat next to Orochimaru and said matter-of-factly. The kid's serious look made Orochimaru feel a lot better. Inexplicably, Naoki, don't underestimate yourself, your performance is already very good. Really, teacher? Certainly. Orochimaru continued, stronger than many ninjas who enter the battlefield for the first time. The performance of the rope tree on the battlefield, although not as amazing as Hinata Hisashi or the original Kakashi, is definitely better than many adults who went to the battlefield for the first time. Hehe, am I that powerful? Seeing Naoki's shy look, Orochimaru didn't answer, just smiled faintly, and then rubbed his head. The temporary meeting room is in the northwest of Konoha village. This is a very empty plain with a super large tent in the middle of the plain. There are already many people around the tent. Lord Orochimaru! Lord Orochimaru! Orochimaru was on his way in the morning and arrived in the afternoon. After arriving here, the Konoha Jonins all greeted Orochimaru in a friendly manner. Even the ninja Akimichi Takafu, who was of the same generation as Sarutobi Hiruzen, saw Orochimaru. Then he nodded to him. His eyes were full of admiration. Of course, the most important thing was the beautiful figure with orange hair and a ponytail. The moment Orochimaru appeared, he flew towards him as if there was no one around. Come over. Orochimaru. The fragrant wind filled my nostrils, and the beauty quickly fell into my arms. At this time, Tsunade was extremely excited, just like a long-lost wife hugging her husband. Feeling the delicate body in her arms, Orochimaru curled up his lips. Tsunade, haven't seen you for a long time. So did you miss me? Do you think it's appropriate to ask this question at this time? There was a slight smile in Orochimaru's tone. No matter how cruel the war was, at the moment he saw Tsunade, his heart inexplicably calmed down. After hearing Orochimaru's words, Tsunade came back to her senses. She glanced after walking around. He realized that many jonin around were staring at the two of them. Being stared at by so many people, Tsunade was a little embarrassed. Let's go, let's find a place with few people to chat. As she said that, without waiting for Orochimaru to react, she pulled Orochimaru to an open place and sat down. This war didn't seem to last long, but in fact the two had been separated for more than half a year. They hadn't seen each other for such a long time. Tsunade naturally had a lot to say to Orochimaru. Of course, Tsunade did not mention the wood escape issue at the first time. After all, it would be inappropriate to talk about such things as soon as they met. So the two discussed it. It was nothing more than some daily chores, war matters, and at most a rope tree. The two were so engrossed in chatting that they didn't even notice the white-haired figure in the crowd looking at them. Well, what do you think of my proposal? After Tsunade told Orochimaru her plan, she looked at his expression expectantly. Adding a medical ninja to the squad. Hearing this plan, Orochimaru said calmly, I think it's good, but I guess it won't pass. Ah? Why? Why do I still need to say it? Orochimaru said casually, you should know it very well. Hey, I believe I can convince them. Then try it. Just try it. As the two chatted, the third Hokage also appeared in their sight. A bunch of guards and ANBU followed him, looking very impressive. After he arrived, he went straight into the tent and held the Jonin meeting without any nonsense. The meeting is actually very simple. It is to deal with the problems that are encountered but not reported in time. There are team member issues, Jonin assignment issues, casualties issues, etc. Orochimaru knew many of the people who came to the meeting this time. In addition to the previous Akimichi Taifeng, there were also Hitaki Sakumo, Uchiha Fugaku, and so on. Orochimaru also spotted Kato Dan's figure in the crowd. The moment he saw Kato Dan, Orochimaru also subconsciously glanced at Tsunade beside him. Suddenly, a strange feeling suddenly surged into his heart. Originally, according to the normal plot development, Tsunade and Kato should have ended up together. But now, Tsunade not only had her hair cut off by herself, but she also had her hair cut off a lot. This feeling is hard to explain, but Orochimaru just feels that, interesting. Stealing other people's things, but others don't know anything about it. This is a desire for control. He also enjoys the feeling of controlling others. The tent has lots of temporary seating. While Orochimaru was thinking, the meeting was already halfway through. Most people talked about the problems encountered in this war one by one. The moment Orochimaru came to his senses, Tsunade asked her historic question. Add a medical ninja training mechanism and add medical ninjas to the team performing tasks. But as soon as this suggestion was put forward, it was immediately opposed by many people. Add medical ninjas. It seems not very suitable, right? I don't think it's appropriate either. Yes, Tsunade-sama, not every medical ninja has your fighting ability. Countless Jounin spoke up, seemingly just to dismiss Tsunade's point of view. You know, there are only 3 to 6 people in a team. Except for one sentient type, there are only a few combatants. What if you add a medical ninja and there's a fight? There was already one less combat force, and now we have to waste one person to protect the medical ninja? In other words, is it equivalent to losing 2 combat capabilities? Just kidding. Therefore, for this kind of thing, directly oppose it without explaining it. But just when everyone was objecting, an alternative voice spoke up. I think this suggestion is a good one. Seeing Kato-dan suddenly standing up to support Tsunade, Orochimaru frowned slightly. At the Jonin meeting, Kato-dan supported Tsunade's proposal and thus got to know Tsunade. This scene does exist in Orochimaru's memory, and it's very profound. After all, Tsunade is his woman now, so he naturally cares more about her. That's just in memory. Now that he is with Tsunade, why does Kato-dan still do this? What is the principle? Is this guy really far-sighted? Or have ulterior motives? Orochimaru was a little skeptical. You know, adding medical ninjas to the team can indeed increase the mission survival rate and mission execution rate, but the current Konoha ninjas cannot accept it. As a Jonin, his ability to judge situations must be among the best. There are so many Jonin in the conference room who are objecting, but Kato-dan alone agrees, so it's useless at all, right? Why does he want to be the first person? Thinking of this, Orochimaru glanced at Tsunade again. Tsunade was looking at Kato-dan with surprise. Obviously, he was a little surprised that such a person suddenly appeared to support him. Seeing this scene, the third Hokage also smiled bitterly and shook his head. Tsunade-dan, please sit down first. Every new proposal related to the survival of the team requires a vote by the Jonin to decide whether it is passed. Therefore, with so many people opposing it, even he is the Hokage and there is nothing he can do. After chatting for a while on this matter, he put the matter aside. The meeting continued, but Orochimaru suddenly raised the corner of his mouth. This Kato-dan seems to be very interesting. As time passed, the meeting ended quickly. The third Hokage collected the issues of the current war and made a decision in his mind. Before leaving, he called Orochimaru and Tsunade to his side. You have worked hard during this period. After the war has stabilized, go back to Konoha and take a vacation. Is teacher? Tsunade was the first to reply. Seeing Tsunade, Sarutobi Hiruzen seemed to have thought of something. By the way, Tsunade, what's going on with your chakra level? Is it because of Orochimaru? Hearing this question, Tsunade glanced at Orochimaru subconsciously, and then straightened her face. Can I report this question to the teacher in a few days? Haha, are you still trying to sell things off? Forget it, do as you like. The third generation didn't seem to have any intention to ask further questions. The teacher will leave first. By the way, you guys, don't wait too long. Don't take too long. Tsunade was stunned, obviously not understanding what Sarutobi Hiruzen meant. But after Sarutobi Hiruzen left, she realized when she saw Orochimaru next to her. Her face suddenly turned red to the root of her neck. As someone who has been there, she already understood the meaning of the third Hokage's words. Orochimaru, have you been studying my grandfather's cells? At night, the moonlight fell on the world. On the top of a deserted mountain, there was an open space. There was a huge rock next to the open space. Two Konoha ninjas wearing the same Konoha uniforms and Jounin vests sat together back to back. Looking at the huge moon in the sky, Tsunade asked this rather pointed question. This question had been buried in her heart for a long time and she never had the chance to ask it. The two of them met again today and there was no one around, so naturally she could ask it clearly. No, I have been studying your genes. After Orochimaru thought for a moment, he decided to lie. Although the successful experiment can completely make up for the fault, the third Hokage will definitely not say anything after it is announced. But if he admits this kind of thing, it will be equivalent to betraying Danzo. Although it's not a big deal to betray Danzo, but Orochimaru still has many uses for Danzo. Losing Danzo's trust now is obviously not a wise move. My genes. Tsunade couldn't help but be stunned. Does her own genes have any research value? Orochimaru continued to talk nonsense. Yes, you are the granddaughter of the first Hokage, and you have the genes of the immortal body in your body. I am just helping. You just woke up. Can it still be like this? Tsunade was surprised. But it sounded like she believed it from her tone. Although she is a medical ninja, her research on genes is obviously much worse than Orochimaru's. Coupled with her relationship with Orochimaru, naturally, there will be no doubt about Orochimaru. Of course, and it's not just you, I can also help Uchiha awaken their Sharingan. Orochimaru told Tsunade about helping Uchiha awaken the Sharingan. Tsunade was not involved in this matter at the beginning, so she didn't know. After listening to Orochimaru's explanation, Tsunade stared at him dumbfounded. Using only a little blood sample, the potion to open the Sharingan was developed? Awakened 60 pairs of Sharingan? Oh my god! That's not right. I remember that I didn't give you a blood sample. I'm afraid you have forgotten that hair from your childhood. Hair? Tsunade has obviously forgotten. Even if you don't remember, we have been together for so long. It should be easy to find something on you for research, right? Hearing this, Tsunade nodded in agreement. After all, the two of them grew up together. What about the rope tree? Can rope tree also awaken wood escape? Cannot. Orochimaru got to the point. Although he can indeed help the rope tree use wood escape, it is really not necessary. So he directly used the reason that the rope tree did not inherit the genes of the first generation Hokage to explain. Because this is a fact. Tsunade had no reason to doubt it. This was indeed the case. Tsunade didn't say anything except being a little pity. As time went by, the topics between the two gradually became ambiguous. The two had originally reunited after a long separation, and now that they were alone, they naturally had to do some things that a couple should do. Inconvenient in the wilderness? If it doesn't exist, Tsunade will also be able to escape. Although I don't know any decent ninjutsu yet, there is no problem in making a small cabin for resting. Bathtub? What are you preparing this for? Looking inside the wooden house, Tsunade made a wooden bathtub with wood escape. Orochimaru was a little curious. I've been on the front line for such a long time and haven't cleaned up properly. I finally had 2 free days, so I naturally had to take a good bath, so, together. Together? Well, Orochimaru will not refuse such a request. Make a fire, boil water, and take a bath. Orochimaru, thank you. After the battle in the bathtub, the two of them were lying on the homemade wooden couch next to them. Tsunade lay on Orochimaru's body, her face flushed, harmoniously, and she said gratefully, "You are welcome." Orochimaru smiled faintly, then put his hand on Tsunade's head and pressed it gently. Orochimaru's movements were very natural, and Tsunade understood them. Well? You want me to? No? Can, but, I haven't tried it. There's always a first time, right? This, all right. However, you are not allowed to tell anyone. Who would tell such a thing to others? Hearing this, Tsunade's face turned even redder, but she still lowered her head, combed her hair around her ears, and then held something. She opened her mouth. Although it was her first time, she understood it very well. This seemed to be similar to Orochimaru's teachings are inseparable. This, another enjoyable evening. And Orochimaru, who had enjoyed this kind of treatment, felt that he needed to realize his dream in his previous life. Find an opportunity to order some special clothes for Tsunade. For example, cheongsam, nurse outfit, etc. Well, the more I think about it, the more interesting it becomes. Early the next morning, the two got dressed and prepared to go their separate ways. Orochimaru had a smile on his lips, while Tsunade was rubbing her cheeks. Really, I feel so sour now. Is it because of the big problem? Tsunade was a little skeptical, but she didn't have time to think about it. Orochimaru, then I will tell the teacher about my situation. Can. So, goodbye. After the two said goodbye reluctantly, they each returned to their own battlefields. There was a legitimate reason for Tsunade's situation, so Orochimaru wasn't afraid to reveal it. What he couldn't reveal was that he was just studying the cells of the first Hokage. So after Tsunade returned to the Suna ninja defense line, she made a confidential document about her situation and briefly reported it to the third Hokage. As a result, the top management of Konoha was confused again. And this time, I was a little bit confused. Awakening would release, how can it be? This is their first reaction. However, when they think of the potions and ninja tools made by Orochimaru, as well as the things that help the Uchiha clan awaken the Sharingan, they feel that this seems reasonable. Since it can help Uchiha awaken, there is nothing wrong with the Sharingan and those Senju awakening would release, right? This was their second thought. But, is there really nothing wrong with that? There is a big difference between the Amagadama Sharingan and the wood release, okay? No, it's not very big, but it's a huge difference. But they just think this statement is reasonable. Help Uchiha awaken the Sharingan, and help Tsunade awaken the wood release? There's really nothing wrong with that, right? Moreover, the information sent back by Tsunade also included Orochimaru's own explanation. You know, there are many blood inheritance limits for attribute types, such as ice escape of wind and water, boiling escape of water and fire, molten escape of fire and earth, etc. The wood release of the Thousand Hands clan also belongs to the realm of blood inheritance and still needs to be awakened. Why don't other members of the Senju clan have this power? According to Orochimaru's explanation, the power of the Senju clan is buried deeper than the power of the Uchiha clan, so it requires deeper digging. He just studied it more thoroughly than others, which is nothing. The surprise of Koharu and Mito Kadobuya when they went to bed could not be described in words. Unbelievable. Sande, your disciple is really... The top management of Konoha was surprised, but the surprise was not over yet. Because the scientific ninja tool Orochimaru researched has been mass-produced and is now ready to be put on the battlefield. Can high-level ninjutsu be released without seals or chakra? This is completely good news for those ninjas who lack chakra. However, in order not to affect the ninja's own practice, Konoha's top management has discussed that this scientific ninja tool should only be used in war. Every time a scientific ninja tool is distributed, the leader of each team will keep a record. After use, you have to recycle it. So, the nightmare of Sand Ninja and IWA Ninja happened again. The disadvantage that was finally regained through Kong Ninja has disappeared again. Yunin can release ninjutsu with 5 attributes, and does it not require sealing? Is the power still first class? How to fight this? Faced with the endless strange moves of Konoha village, the Sand Ninja and IWA Ninja had no choice but to pause their attack again. Both sides have once again entered a war break period. However, the third Hokage already had his own ideas based on the information he had collected from his previous visits to the front lines. It's obviously not possible for Konoha to fight 1 against 2. After all, both of them are big countries. Even if they can win the battle in the end, Konoha will definitely suffer heavy losses. So he thought of asking for help. The person seeking help is the Kingdom of Thunder. Currently, the Kingdom of Thunder still has an alliance contract with Konoha. In order to prove that the contract was still valid, and to prove that they had not participated in the previous attack on Uzumaki Hidden Village, they agreed to send troops to help after thinking about it for a while. At the end of Konoha 33, 4 months after the Jonin Conference ended, the Kingdom of Thunder began to use troops against the Kingdom of Earth. This time, Konoha's pressure was greatly reduced. They only need to keep a small number of people on the IWA Ninja defense line. The others were divided into 2 groups and took turns to defend the Suna Ninja village battlefield. Tsunade and Orochimaru became the first Jonin to return to Konoha to rest. When they come back, the whole village celebrates. Including the elderly and children, they all regard them as Konoha's heroes. The third Hokage couldn't wait to call Tsunade and Orochimaru to the office. Tsunade, have you really awakened the wood release? This is the first thing the third Hokage asked after meeting. Although he has accepted this fact, the third Hokage still feels a little unbelievable. Of course, I won't report this kind of thing randomly. Tsunade didn't waste any time and directly put her hands together. Bang! Wooden release. With the burst of chakra, countless vines grew out of the wooden desk of the third Hokage. Is it really Mudun? Looking at these green vines, the third Hokage really believed it now. Do you need your grandfather's wooden escape scroll? It took the third Hokage a long time to hold back such a sentence. Because Tsunade now only has 2 siblings, and she herself is too lazy to keep these things, so the Senju clan's belongings, including the wood release scroll, were given to the third generation. The Hokage kept it. After hearing what the third Hokage said, Tsunade hesitated. Although Grandpa's wood release is very strong, I am not suitable for fighting with the wood release. Fighting with fists is a habit that Tsunade has persisted for more than 20 years. Moreover, medical ninjutsu is also what she is best at and likes the most. Suddenly she is asked to give up what she has learned before and switch to using wood escape to fight? This is obviously a bit inappropriate. Reality. The strategic significance of Mudun is very high, and it is not just for fighting. The third Hokage explained, let's do this, I will give you a wood escape ninjutsu first, and you can practice it first. This, all right. After receiving Tsunade's affirmative reply, the third Hokage came to the corner of the office and opened a sealed box. There are several scrolls placed in the box. It looks like they should all be wood release ninjutsu scrolls. Sarutobi Hiruzen picked up one of them, turned back, handed it to Tsunade, and then looked at Orochimaru. Orochimaru, you, really surprising. Do you need any reward from the teacher? Award? Orochimaru paused. It seems that there is nothing in particular that I want. Money, power, and women are what most men pursue. Money? Orochimaru is not short of it. Power? He is not interested in the position of Hokage, and even if he is, Sarutobi won't give it to him. As for women, although there is currently only Tsunade is the only one, but he has no other ideas for the time being. Therefore, the only thing he pursues is the power unique to this world. Power? Magic? The third Hokage can't give it. The only thing that can be given is the seal. The book. But the Book of Seals? Is it realistic? You know, why is the Book of Seals called the Book of Seals? Why are the books of seals full of forbidden arts? Why are forbidden arts called forbidden arts? Orochimaru knows these things very well. Researching forbidden arts is forbidden by village law. He would not be stupid enough to say, I want to read the Book of Seals, thereby revealing his purpose. Is that so? That's really a pity, but again, if you want anything, just tell the teacher. No. The two said goodbye to the third generation and left the Hokage's office. Seeing the rope tree waiting downstairs, Orochimaru couldn't help but raise his lips. He can now be sure that this boy has really changed his destiny. Because he not only after advanced strengthening, his strength was close to that of a Jonin, and he successfully lived to the age of 13. Orochimaru helped Tsunade awaken the wood release, and this matter became a top secret. No one knows this secret except 4 high-ranking Konoha officials, as well as Orochimaru and Tsunade. Orochimaru and Tsunade said goodbye for a while and returned to their own house. The house is empty now, and because it is a war, I have not been back for a long time, and no one is cleaning it. After Orochimaru tidied the bed casually, he lay down. War makes people tired, even Orochimaru is no exception. Although every battle is crushing for him, Orochimaru never underestimates his opponents. On the battlefield, no matter how strong you are, you may still be killed if you underestimate the enemy. Orochimaru believes this. Therefore, in his first sleep after coming back, he had a great sleep and was very comfortable. There was no tension like when he was on the front line, nor was he having a romantic relationship with Tsunade. It's just a simple sleep, the kind that lasts from afternoon to dawn. Early the next morning, Orochimaru woke up and did not get up immediately. Instead, he lay in bed and thought about his future development direction. Discover by yourself what is missing from your own strength. In addition to eye power, it seems that there is also a lack of immortality. As for immortality, he didn't have the time to look for it during the war. Therefore, your own strength cannot be improved in a short period of time. In other words, now we can only develop our power first. Rebuild the experimental base to produce clone armies? It seems like this is the only way. But the experimental base? Thinking of this, Orochimaru gave him a headache. At this time, no one is available. After the experimental base was built, there was no one to manage it, so it seems that this plan can only be postponed. Originally, he wanted Nanoyu to help him before, but after he came back from TNZ country for the first time, he never saw Nanoyu again. He knew that Nanoyu should have gone on a secret mission, so he didn't ask any more questions. Forget it, let's get up first. Orochimaru said to himself. He has been developing technology, pursuing power or war, and it's time to enjoy the quiet life of Konoha. Seeing his empty but dusty mansion, he put on his clothes. Orochimaru was about to pack his clothes first. But just as he was about to pack them away, a thought suddenly flashed through his mind. He was so rich, why did he have to pack it himself? Shadow clone? Isn't that still me? So, thinking of Orochimaru here, decisively posted a task. The task level is D. Looking for someone to clean the house, the task commission is 10,000 taels. 10,000 taels is the highest commission for D-level tasks, so I am not afraid that no one will take it. This is indeed the case. After posting the task, less than 2 hours later, the ninja who took over the mission came to his door. But who came? But he was surprised. Uchiha Mikoto. Orochimaru-sama, please give me some advice. Uchiha Mikoto is Naoki's classmate. Shengshu changed her destiny by herself, so she managed to live to the age of 13. In other words, the current Uchiha Mikoto is also a little over 13 years old. Looking at the black-haired Lolita who had begun to grow in front of him, Orochimaru narrowed his eyes. It's hard to imagine that you actually took this task. That, I happen to be free today, so, Uchiha Mikoto said with a slightly nervous voice. Although she is now a Chunin, Orochimaru has a good reputation. He is a big shot with the title of Sunin. She still couldn't keep her peace in front of Orochimaru. Besides, she didn't take this task on her own. Orochimaru saw Uchiha Mikoto's nervous look and couldn't help but think of the time when he met Kushina before. Are you afraid of me? No, I. Uchiha Mikoto is even more nervous. Forget it, let's talk about it after we come in. Orochimaru interrupted the other party. He didn't need the other party to finish what he said. Just by looking at the other party's appearance and trembling voice, he completely understood. At this moment, Orochimaru doubted his appearance. Isn't he handsome enough? Only you. Yes. Since I haven't had to gather recently, I took on this task myself. This sentence, Yubo-Mikan spoke much more smoothly. Hearing this, Orochimaru nodded. Ninjas usually do missions in teams, but some D-level missions can indeed be taken on by one person, and there's nothing wrong with that. But why would Uchiha Mikoto do this task? Orochimaru was a little suspicious, but he didn't care. Anyway, all his important things were in the system warehouse. There is nothing special at home. So after giving Uchiha Mikoto a few instructions, he left his house. Looking at Orochimaru's leaving figure and looking at the dust in the house, Uchiha Mikoto was a little confused. Has Lord Orochimaru always lived alone? In Konoha, those who hire ninjas are usually ordinary villagers. Ninjas hire ninjas, and jonins hire chunin? This kind of thing is really weird. Regarding this point, Uchiha Mikoto was actually very confused. However, the basic qualities of a ninja are still there. She would not just go and ask Orochimaru why. In my heart, I simply thought that Orochimaru might have issued this kind of task because he didn't have time to clean. He would never have thought that Orochimaru, as an elite jounin, would suffer from laziness. Walking alone on the streets of Konoha village, Orochimaru felt refreshed as he looked at the noisy and bustling streets of Konoha. Because being able to win a war based on scientific research results is also a great sense of accomplishment for him. Can one person's existence change a war? Sometimes it does. For example, Namikaze Minato won the most critical battle during the Third War and changed the final direction of the war. Another example is Naruto Sasuke during the Fourth War. He directly became the savior, right? However, Orochimaru always felt that no matter how awesome a person was, he was just one person. Use your own strength to save the world? How tired are you? Rather than changing the war with one person's power, he is more suitable to follow the path of the original Orochimaru. Discover talents, cultivate talents, and leave everything to these talents. This is the most correct way. Whether it's work or fighting, you don't need to take care of it yourself. I just need to be the boss behind the scenes. Otherwise, you have to do everything yourself? No matter how strong you are, you will still have to work hard for a lifetime. This is not the life I want. After having lunch alone, Orochimaru came to Konoha's bathhouse. Taking a bath in the bathhouse is also a different kind of enjoyment. Even Orochimaru liked the feeling of soaking his whole body in the hot spring. It was 2 o'clock in the afternoon, and there was no one else in the bathhouse. Orochimaru liked this feeling of tranquility. Putting a warm towel on his face, the heat penetrated Orochimaru's nose through the towel. Suddenly, a feeling of comfort spreads through every pore in the body. Boom, boom, boom. A knock on the door suddenly reached Uchiha Mikoto's ears. Coming. Lord Orochimaru, you. The door opened, and Uchiha Mikoto couldn't help but be stunned when she saw a tall woman wearing a purple coat at the door. Alas, you are? Tsunade-sama. Who are you? Tsunade also looked at the loli in front of her and asked doubtfully, why are you in Orochimaru's house? Well, my name is Uchiha Mikoto. Lord Orochimaru hired me to clean the house. Lord Orochimaru is not at home right now. Uchiha Mikoto explained her situation in detail. Uchiha and the Senju clan have irreconcilable conflicts. However, this contradiction gradually disappeared after the decline of the Senju clan. After all, there are only 2 people left in the entire Senju family. It would be too petty for a family as big as yours, Uchiha, to hold on to the grievances of their predecessors and spread their grievances on a little girl. Therefore, Uchiha Mikoto has the respect that a junior should have for a senior towards Tsunade. Even if it doesn't lead to reconciliation, it won't lead to a falling out on the spot. Tsunade, on the other hand, felt a little unhappy when she heard that it was the little Uchiha girl across from her, but when she heard that she was here to clean, she immediately blushed and her heart skipped a beat. Because this seems to be caused by her not knowing how to do housework. Since he's not here, forget it. Do you know where Orochimaru went? This, not very clear. Oh well. Tsunade waved her hand casually, get busy. Since Orochimaru is not here, there is no need for Tsunade to stay. Just as she turned around and walked not far, she saw a figure with long white hair. Break. In the evening, Gen's headquarters was completely dark, except for a dim candlelight swaying in a certain room. Orochimaru, you are so disappointing. A deep voice suddenly rang, with a hint of dissatisfaction in his tone. What do you say, Danzo-sama? After taking a bath and resting for a long time, Orochimaru, who had just arrived here after dinner, heard such words from Danzo. He was really confused in his heart. Could it be that he was dissatisfied because he helped Tsunade awaken the wood release? Danzo looked at Orochimaru with his exposed left eye. You are a good young man. You should have become an excellent ninja, but look at you now. Emotion is the most redundant emotion for ninjas. Danzo chattered a lot, his tone full of hatred that iron could not become steel. After listening, Orochimaru finally understood. So it's because of this? Sir, you are worrying too much. No, you don't. A Euro trademark T. Understand. Once a ninja has feelings, he will have a weakness. If this weakness is exploited by the enemy. Is this why the adults are always alone? Orochimaru curled his lips and interrupted Danzo directly. Okay, don't talk about this. You didn't come to me to talk about this, right? Of course not. For the Sharingan. Good. There is no doubt that in this war, Danzo got a lot of Sharingan. The biggest reason is that Orochimaru helped Uchiha open a lot of Sharingan. The more bases of eye openings, the more it evolves into 3. The more Megatama there are, because there are too many people and the Uchiha tribe is limited, the protection of the Sharingan will become lower. Naturally, the chance of Danzo getting the Sharingan will be higher. Looking at the 12-3 in front of him, Magatama's Sharingan, even Orochimaru has to admire Danzo's perseverance. 12 Sharingan? Including the remaining 2, there are 14 in total, which is enough. But sir, are you sure you want a transplant? Orochimaru had a smile on his lips. Let's not talk about the risks of surgical transplantation. Once the cells are transplanted, it will be difficult to remove this disadvantage. You have to think about it again and again. Because this is a lifelong matter. After hearing Orochimaru's words, Danzo hesitated. Do you think this is necessary? You helped that girl Tsunade awaken the wood release, which was originally very inappropriate, but you turned her into one of your own, which was a very good move. But can Tsunade always be used by you? This is still a problem. Danzo paused at this point. So, I don't seem to have any other choice. Is power really so important? Orochimaru's mouth still maintained a gentle smile. Of course, only after you have enough power can you feel the benefits of power. In front of Orochimaru, Danzo did not hide his ambition at all. Because he always believed that Orochimaru was with him. In fact, on the surface, this is indeed the case. Orochimaru has been working for Danzo since he was a child. And he also contributed a lot of technology to him. Danzo believed in his brainwashing ability and believed that Orochimaru had no reason to betray him. Orochimaru didn't care, anyway, it was Danzo's business to do whatever he liked, and it had no effect on him. It was just a random question on a whim, with no special purpose. But it was too late today, and there was little preparation, so the operation was scheduled for 3 days later. Danzo wanted to be Hokage, and many people knew about it, including even the 3rd Hokage. But now that the overall situation has been decided, the 3rd Hokage didn't think he could make any waves, so he just let him mess around. But, is this really the case? In the past, perhaps this was true. Danzo lost power because of a word from the 2nd Hokage. Most families have also become supporters of the 3rd Hokage. Danzo's desire to become Hokage has become a luxury. But now, things are obviously different. The strength shown by Orochimaru today is not much worse than that of Sarutobi. Coupled with his contribution to the village and the reputation of the Sunin, he can already have a certain influence. So, in the Hokage's office, the 3rd Hokage rested his hands on the desk. After listening to the ANBU report in front of him, he narrowed his eyes. Are you sure you read that correctly? It's absolutely true, Hokage-sama. Call. The 3rd Hokage let out a long breath. Okay, you go down. Yes. The ANBU left, and the 3rd Hokage seemed to be hollowed out, sighing helplessly. He is the Hokage, and the entire Konoha is under his jurisdiction. In Konoha, few things can be hidden. His eyes. Orochimaru has been in contact with Danzo for so long. As the Hokage, he has no reason not to know. He has already guessed, but he has always been unsure. But now, don't make the answer too obvious. It's just that he can't figure it out. Orochimaru is his favorite disciple, why does he come into contact with Danzo? This feeling is as if one's most precious thing has been taken away by others, which makes people extremely unhappy. My proud disciple, the teacher has never been sorry to you. Why do you want to contact Danzo? The third Hokage murmured to himself, looking very sad. Although he and Danzo were teammates before, they are now colleagues. But the position of Hokage is not a child's play. He knows very well what Danzo is thinking, so naturally he will give this position to Danzo. But it is precisely because of this that Orochimaru's behavior makes him extremely puzzled. It is impossible that Orochimaru does not know his relationship with Danzo. Why should he be so close to Danzo? The third generation Naruto felt that he needed to observe carefully. Will Sarutobi Hiruzen discover his whereabouts? Orochimaru had long expected that such a day would come. After all, this is Konoha. With the third Hokage's monitoring methods, no matter how careful you are, your flaws will inevitably be revealed over time. But Orochimaru didn't care very much, because he had already been prepared when he chose to take this path. Nothing else matters when it comes to gaining strength. However, there was one thing that made him unhappy. On the way back from Gen's headquarters, Orochimaru curled his lips when he saw two familiar figures who had just come out of the izakaya next to the street. Why don't you call me when you go out for a drink? Tsunade. Seeing Orochimaru, Tsunade was also stunned. She seemed to be afraid that Orochimaru would misunderstand, so she quickly explained, Orochimaru, don't get me wrong, Dan and I are just discussing business. Okay, no need to explain. Orochimaru raised his hand and interrupted Tsunade, you guys can talk slowly, I'm going back first. After saying that, he turned around and left without waiting for the two of them to answer. That, it seems that Orochimaru-sama has misunderstood. Kato-dan said apologetically. Orochimaru, wait! Tsunade shouted, dropped Dan directly, and quickly chased after Orochimaru. She felt that Orochimaru might have really misunderstood. Looking at the backs of the two people leaving one after another, Kato-dan seemed to have something to say. Thinking. After a moment, turn around and leave in the opposite direction. Hey, wait for me. He and I really just chatted about business for a while. After catching up with Orochimaru, Tsunade felt a little aggrieved. Indeed, after that Jonin meeting, she learned about Kato-dan. The two belong to the same defense line. After that incident, it is inevitable that the two will have professional contacts. But it's just a simple understanding. Kato-dan met her by chance in the afternoon and said that they would get together in the evening to study the issue of frontline defense, so she, who was a bit nervous, agreed without much thought. Who knew that he would meet Orochimaru and cause a misunderstanding? Facing Tsunade's explanation, Orochimaru didn't say anything and walked forward on his own. In fact, did Orochimaru misunderstand? Not at all. Because he knew that although Tsunade was a ninja, she was absolutely loyal emotionally. Betrayal or something? Non-existent. He was just a little unhappy. This had nothing to do with feelings. It was caused by a man's unique possessiveness. It is a sin for other men to look at your own woman twice, let alone drink together alone. This Kato-dan is really interesting. Knowing his relationship with Tsunade, he came here to ask Tsunade out? Do you think you have a long life? Seeing the silent Orochimaru, Tsunade, who followed closely, blamed herself, but at the same time she was actually a little happy. Does this guy care about himself? It seems so. Because I have never seen Orochimaru like this. Thinking of this, she happily held Orochimaru's arm. Okay, Orochimaru, don't be angry. I know it was my fault today and I shouldn't have met him alone, but it was also because I couldn't find you and was really bored, so I... Okay, no matter what, I promise you that I will never meet him alone in the future, okay? Isn't this enough? Seeing Orochimaru didn't respond, Tsunade was depressed. Just as she was about to say something more, Orochimaru's voice sounded faintly. Tsunade, you are thinking too much. I was just thinking about the problem. It's okay. You can go back. Go back? This is not okay, I don't want any misunderstanding between us. And you? Tsunade smiled. Hey, I'll stay with you tonight. As the saying goes, if there is a misunderstanding between lovers, just have a fight and it will be over. What's more, Orochimaru really didn't doubt Tsunade, how could he be so free? However, Orochimaru certainly had no reason to refuse Tsunade's request. I had a good sleep when I came back yesterday, and I had another day of rest today. My mental and physical strength has already returned to its peak state. What is the so-called feeling full and warm? In this case, Orochimaru really had some ideas. So of course he accepted Tsunade's proposal. But when the two of them entered the door, they found that the light in the living room was still on. Lord Orochimaru, Lord Tsunade. When they came to the living room, a little black-haired Lolita wearing a white t-shirt shouted respectfully to the two of them. Seeing her, Orochimaru had to say with emotion, "This is life. Falling in love with a big girl, find a little Lolita as a maid and help with the cleaning. Life like this is better than fighting and killing every day." After shaking his head and no longer thinking about it, Orochimaru took out 10,000 ryo from his body and handed it to Uchiha Mikoto. "Your commission." "Thank you, sir. Remember to close the door when you go out." "Yes." Uchiha Mikoto left, and the two entered couple mode. This night, I don't know if Tsunade really felt that she was wrong. She felt more proactive and cooperative than usual. Not only with her mouth, but also with her groove. Rowan's softness and warmth are intertwined. Only those who have truly experienced this feeling will know how refreshing it is. "Mikoto, how did you complete the mission?" Uchiha Akiera couldn't help but ask as soon as his daughter came back from the Uchiha clan. This task was handed over to him by someone within the Uchiha clan. The purpose goes without saying. After hearing his father's question, Uchiha Mikoto was speechless. It's just a simple D-level mission, of course it was successfully completed. "Did Orochimaru-sama say anything to you?" Uchiha Akiera continued to ask. "Say something?" Uchiha Mikoto was obviously stunned. "After I went, he gave me a few instructions and went out directly." "What can I say? Went out directly?" Uchiha Akiera was even more stunned. His first reaction was, "How is this possible? You know, there are many secrets in the ninja's family. This is especially true for Jounin. And Orochimaru is the best Jounin. Elite, you can imagine the secrets in that family. But then I thought about it, since Orochimaru can issue such a task, it is enough to show that he doesn't care about others digging into his house. There seems to be nothing wrong with such a move. This is a bit troublesome." Uchiha Akiera scratched his hair and said a little irritably. "What's wrong, Dad?" "Nothing, take a break." Uchiha Akiera said perfunctorily. Uchiha Mikoto was still young, so he didn't tell her some things. The Uchiha clan is in an embarrassing situation in Konoha, and it can be said to be a dilemma. If we can win the support of some forces, maybe much easier. Because of this, they have been looking for possibilities in this area in Konoha. Because Orochimaru is a disciple of the third Hokage and does not reject their Uchiha, it is natural for him to become the target of their wooing. But how can there be no trace? It is indeed a problem to close the distance between the two parties. Thinking of this, Uchiha Akiera touched his chin. At present, it seems that other than letting Mikoto test it, other methods will not work. Forget it, let's discuss it with the clan leader first. On the other side, Orochimaru's backyard. There is a special chair in the backyard. Orochimaru, who had rolled with Tsunade once, was lying alone on this chair, looking at the bright moon in the sky and lost in thought. Eye power? Remember, this moon seems different from other moons. Not only is Kaguya sealed on it, but also the descendants of Hamura Otsutsuki? And there seems to be a big reincarnation eye? It would be pretty good if I could go to the moon and obtain this reincarnation eye. But he also knew that this was just a thought for the time being. Because if you want to go to the moon, you won't be able to do it for a while. At least you have to be strong enough to open a portal. But when it comes to eye power, Orochimaru thought of Uchiha Mikoto just now. I should find an opportunity to draw some blood for testing. Just what kind of reason should I find? Orochimaru, what are you thinking about? A crisp voice interrupted Orochimaru's random thoughts. Orochimaru looked back and saw Tsunade wearing netted pajamas standing under the eaves, tying the belt of her pajamas. Nothing, just something that suddenly occurred to me. Tsunade tied her belt, walked to Orochimaru, sat in his arms naturally, and hooked her arms around his neck. Hey, you're not still angry with me, are you? Didn't I just promise you to keep your distance from him in the future? Feeling Orochimaru's emotions, Tsunade also realized that her previous behavior was somewhat inappropriate, so she decided to draw a clear line with Kato without hesitation. Because in her mind, she was the only one who could compare with Orochimaru. As for Kato-dan? Orochimaru obviously doesn't like it, so how could she possibly touch Orochimaru? It has to be said that Tsunade, who has not lost her brother, is much more cheerful and happy than she remembers. Although she still feels guilty because she felt sad for those who died in the war, but she would not moan unnecessarily. And in front of Orochimaru, she did not have the temperament of a princess at all. For such Tsunade, Orochimaru was very satisfied, and his slightly hoarse voice was calm. Rings, you think too much, and, in your heart, am I so unbearable? That's right, you're not such a stingy person, so what are you thinking about? Tsunade was thoughtful, and then suddenly said, hey? Are you thinking about the little girl who cleans your house? Orochimaru, you can't, right? Although the girl is very cute, she is so small. Orochimaru was speechless for a moment, and it took him a long time to say, I look a lot like Zenta. They don't look alike, but they behave very much, right? Otherwise, why would you want me to use it? Use here. Seeing Tsunade pointing at his slit, Orochimaru was speechless for a moment. Kato-dan, the original lover of Tsunade, Konoha elite jounin, possess an extremely powerful spiritual transformation technique. Spiritualization jutsu is a ninjutsu that separates spiritual energy from physical energy and materializes the spiritual energy to form a spirit body and use it to fight. Its effect has exceeded the concept of ordinary ninjutsu. From Orochimaru's point of view, this move is very similar to the spirit out of body in mythology. Use your soul to fight your enemies. Well, it seems a bit unsolvable, but for Orochimaru, that's actually it. In his eyes, this is just a technique that materializes spiritual energy. It is very simple to crack it, you only need strong enough mental power to do it. Is the soul invincible in battle? Look at Pain's human world, is it possible to directly absorb people's souls? When you are spiritualized, you are sending nutrients to the samsara eye. As for Kato-dan, Orochimaru had never cared about him. After all, Tsunade had already become his woman. Did he need to argue with Kato-dan? Obviously not necessary. However, since he discovered Kato-dan's unusual behavior during the last Jonin meeting, Orochimaru combined his memories and came to a strange conclusion. That is, Kato-dan wants to be Hokage. What? Kato-san wants to be Hokage? What kind of strange conclusion is this? Isn't this a matter of course? It's normal to have this dream, right? Didn't he also have this dream in the original work? Yes, that's right, in Konoha village, it is normal to have a dream of becoming Hokage. After all, the position of Hokage is a supreme honor for any ninja. But is it really normal? You said, if a little kid wants to be Hokage, then forget it. After all, who didn't have some dreams when they were young? But in Konoha, as long as you upgrade to a Jonin, will you know about the overt and secret struggles among Konoha's top brass? This is simply not possible. Is the position of Hokage something you can take wherever you want? It's simply naive. Without a strong relationship, even if you are extremely powerful, you still won't be able to get into this position. Even the teenage Kakashi understands this truth, but wouldn't the 20-year-old Kato Dan understand it? This is impossible. If you say that Naoki dares to say this, it is because he is a descendant of the Senju clan. If Naruto dares to say this, it is because he is the son of the fourth Hokage. Moreover, they are still young and don't know how deep the water in the position of Hokage is, so it is normal for them to be childlike. But why are you Katadan? Firstly, he has no background, secondly, he has no power, and he has no connection with the previous generation of Hokages. How can he be a Hokage? Therefore, Orochimaru, combined with his memories, felt that Kato Dan might have deliberately approached Tsunade in order to gain Tsunade's support in becoming Hokage. Although this idea sounds a bit fanciful and is entirely Orochimaru's personal speculation, Orochimaru feels that this possibility is really high. Otherwise, Kato Dan's actions, whether in memory or in reality, would be somewhat unexplainable. Just like the Jounin meeting in his memory, most of the Jounin were opposed. Why would he risk offending other Jounin to stand up and support Tsunade? Is there no purpose at all? Why would an adult elite Jounin have the same dream of being Hokage as a kid like Naoki? And he also expressed this dream openly? Isn't it just to gain Tsunade's favor? You know, being the Hokage is something that even Danzo wouldn't dare to say openly, okay? Of course, will Orochimaru regard Kato Dan as his enemy? That's not the case. Because in Orochimaru's heart, Kato Dan is really not worthy. Orochimaru was undoubtedly decadent when he was with Tsunade. Tomb of Heroes of Weenwen Township? This sentence is true. Because ordinary people, no matter how awesome you are on weekdays, can easily develop a lingering mentality in the gentle countryside. As time goes by, even if you are invincible in the ninja world, you will also waste your instincts because of women. Fortunately, after being a ninja for so long, Orochimaru still has very strong self-discipline. Otherwise it would be really useless. Time passed day by day, and 3 days came in a blink of an eye. 3 days later, preparations for surgery were complete. Orochimaru began to help Danzo transplant cells. The operation was still performed in the secret laboratory in the suburbs. Countless root ninjas were guarding the outside, while Orochimaru was transplanting the Sharingan to Danzo inside. It's just that the last time it was an eye transplant, this time the cells of the first Hokage also need to be transplanted. Without Yugo or Baizetsu's ability, this surgery is still very complicated. Let me replace my right eye as well. This eye is no longer working. Lying on the cold operating table, the shirtless Danzo said calmly. Orochimaru took off the bandage and took a look. You use the Sharingan a little too frequently. The power of the eyes has almost disappeared. In order to cultivate subordinates who are loyal to themselves, sometimes they have no choice but to do so. Moreover, let alone me, even the Uchiha clan will lose their pupil power every time they are used. That's right. This thing is a consumable item. If people who are not from the Uchiha clan use it, it will be consumed faster. Orochimaru agreed. Sharingan, whether it is 1 megatama, 3 megatama, or kaleidoscope, will put a certain load on the body every time it is used. Especially the kaleidoscope, every time it is used, the eyes will have obvious vision loss. Although the power of the eyes of the 3 megatama is not particularly strong, and the load on the body is much worse than that of the kaleidoscope, but if it is used too frequently, problems will still occur. Not all of Danzo's subordinates are absolutely obedient, so he often uses by using the hypnotic ability of the Sharingan, some consciousness is forcibly implanted into the minds of these people to make them obey their orders absolutely. This is why Danzo's Sharingan is consumed so quickly. Of course, this has nothing to do with Orochimaru. Anyway, he can't be regarded as Danzo's subordinate. If Danzo wants to change his eyes, he just needs to change them. The scalpel, disinfectant, searchlight, and the Sharingan and the first Hokage cells that need to be transplanted are all ready. The operation is very simple. Start quickly. Cell transplantation is a very skilled ability for Orochimaru. Even if it has not been done on the battlefield for a long time, it will still not have much impact. Therefore, the experiment of the coexistence of the cells of the first Hokage and the Sharingan, it soon appeared perfectly on Danzo. Sharingan arm? Danzo acquired this ability at least 10 years earlier than he remembered. Well, very powerful. Feeling that the chakra in his body was obviously larger than before, Danzo couldn't help but admired. Although this arm looked a little ugly, the substantial improvement in physical and mental strength was enough for him to ignore this shortcoming in terms of effect. It is many times stronger than the potion originally made by Orochimaru. If you waste so much effort and don't a Euro trademark T even gain this little bit, it would be a real loss. Orochimaru said very casually while packing up the experimental equipment. So many years have passed since Danzo wooed him. After spending so much time and energy planning these things, what if he gets nothing in the end? I guess angry and vomiting blood. Indeed so. Danzo shook his hand and found that he didn't feel any discomfort. He couldn't help but nodded with satisfaction. He picked up the bandage that had been prepared nearby and wrapped it up. Of course, the equipment to seal the power is also indispensable. This kind of power needs to be hidden. If there is no device to seal the power, it will be easily discovered by the Byakugan of the Hyuga clan. Okay, if nothing happens, I'll go back first. Not in a hurry. Anything else? Danzo tied the bandage and said calmly, Orochimaru, you have helped me so much, I will help you today too. What's the meaning? Come back with me and you will know. Danzo deliberately let it slip. Orochimaru also vaguely guessed what Danzo wanted to do, but he could only pretend not to know. Because sometimes acting too smart is not a good thing. And for Danzo it is said that Orochimaru's existence is somewhat special. Although he has a higher level than Orochimaru in Konoha, the two of them have more of a cooperative relationship. Normally, as long as Orochimaru does not go too far, he usually won't what to say. Just like how Orochimaru helped Tsunade awaken Mudun before. He just felt a little sorry for Orochimaru, but he didn't say that Orochimaru did something wrong. Because the matter between Orochimaru and Tsunade has reached the point where everyone knows there is nothing wrong with helping his woman. He won't say too much about it. And Orochimaru has been doing things for him, but he has never received any real benefits. This is obviously inappropriate. Therefore, in order for Orochimaru to continue working for him, he naturally had to fulfill his original promise. The operation was performed at night, and it was already midnight when the two of them left the operating room. Danzo led the way, and Orochimaru followed behind. The other people quickly followed after dealing with the hidden problems in the laboratory. Soon, everyone returned to Konoha village. 10 minutes later. In Gen's headquarters, Danzo's office. Looking at the desk lying flat on the huge scroll, Orochimaru couldn't help but narrowed his eyes. This is... Orochimaru, I believe you should know that there is a sealed book in Konoha. Danzo said bluntly. With the current relationship between the two, there are many things that are no longer secrets. Of course I know. Orochimaru nodded, and then looked at the scroll on the desk. Is it possible, is this the sealed book? The sealed book, a forbidden book sealed by the first Hokage Senju Hashirama. The scroll records the ninjutsu learned or created by the previous Hokage. It was sealed by the first Hokage because it was too dangerous. What is recorded in it are forbidden techniques that ordinary ninjas are not allowed to learn. Judging from memory, there are at least 3 forbidden techniques recorded in this scroll, a multiple shadow clone, a flying thunder god, and the other is the reincarnation of the dirty earth. Good. Danzo nodded cautiously. What is recorded above are all forbidden techniques, and they are also taboos in Konoha. Even if I want to check them, I need some very complicated procedures. Yet, even if it's Danzo, it requires a very complicated procedure to check. Orochimaru is not surprised at all. Although it is very easy for Naruto to steal this in the original work, he has always believed that it must be the result of the third generation's betrayal. You know, this thing is of absolute importance to Konoha. With Naruto's unbearable strength? If the third generation hadn't let him off, why would he have stolen it? So, Your Excellency brought me to see this. Is it because it contains the technique I need? Needless to say, Earth reincarnation is a forbidden psychic technique developed by the Nidaime Hokage. This technique can summon the souls of long-dead ninjas back to the human world and resurrect them in physical form. Because this technique involves certain moral issues, the first Hokage banned this technique as a forbidden technique when he was still alive. But, although this is a forbidden technique, Danzo continued calmly, but it may be useful to you. This is also the promise I made to you. And in my opinion, as long as this technique is used properly, it can definitely have some unexpected effects. The only pity is that this technique still has many flaws, and ordinary people simply cannot master it. I think it's your words, there should be no problem. It's unbelievable. Orochimaru walked over and picked up the scroll on the table. A hot light flashed in his eyes. This thing that is more buggy than the cells of the first generation Hokage is finally in hand. Orochimaru believes it. With it, cooperate with yourself with the Sharingan Legion, his military strength will definitely reach a qualitative leap. Seeing the undisguised excitement on Orochimaru's face, Danzo also smiled slightly. Orochimaru, I said, as long as you do my best I won't treat you badly when doing things. Just take your time and watch. I'll go out first. By the way, you only have 2 hours. This thing must be returned before 5 o'clock in the morning, otherwise it will cause unnecessary trouble. I understand, adults, walk slowly. Danzo nodded, gave Orochimaru a few words, and then turned and left. He believed that with Orochimaru's talent, 2 hours is enough. 2 hours? Where is the need for 2 hours? For Orochimaru, who has the Sharingan, he only needs to open the Sharingan and scan them one by one. Hearing the sound of Danzo closing the door, Orochimaru couldn't wait to open the sealed book. Not only the filthy earth reincarnation, but also other techniques should be useful to me. How did Danzo obtain the sealed book? Was it stolen, or was it obtained by using one's own power? Orochimaru doesn't care about this, as long as he has obtained the sealed book anyway. After scanning the surroundings, there is no monitoring equipment in this room. So, the golden vertical pupils turned into scarlet and began to scan the long-coveted sealed book. Forbidden techniques are generally more powerful than secret techniques, not to mention that many of these forbidden techniques are still half-finished. So naturally the Sharingan cannot be copied and cast directly. However, although the Sharingan cannot be copied directly, it has the ability of photographic memory. Anyway, just record these cultivation methods and operation principles first, and then study them slowly when you get back. Whether you can learn it or not is a matter for the future. The first forbidden technique, multiple shadow clones. Needless to say, this is the first decent ninjutsu that Naruto in the original novel learned. This is a bug-level clone technique, which is not even a little stronger than the ordinary escape technique clone. This is especially true for people with more chakras. It is not a big deal to separate thousands of them directly without any medium. If the clone dies, you can still gain the clone's experience. 4 or less clones are called shadow clones, and more than 4 clones are called multiple shadow clones. As long as you are not afraid of being overwhelmed by the feedback experience from your clones, the number of clones you have is entirely up to your personal preference. But for Orochimaru, this technique is not very useful because he doesn't like to fight with clones. And even if you have to use a clone, the wood escape clone is more suitable for fighting than the shadow clone. Therefore, he just used his Sharingan to record it casually and then looked directly at the second forbidden technique. Sure enough, the dirty soil was reincarnated. The dirty land is reincarnated, using living people as sacrifices, and summons the souls of the dead to possess the sacrifices to fight. This technique is extremely powerful, and given enough time, it can create an unrivaled army. Of course, resurrection is not the most powerful part of this technique. The most powerful thing is that the dead who are resurrected by this technique have bodies that cannot be killed by normal means, as well as inexhaustible chakra and energy. It can't be killed, it can only be sealed. From this alone, you can imagine how terrifying this technique is. Perhaps the only flaw is that the resurrected person will not be as strong as he was before his death. How much strength the reincarnated person can be resurrected depends on many factors. The first is the physical quality of the sacrifice. The higher the quality, the stronger the strength. The best body is of course the best representative of the immortal body, the cells of Senju Hashirama. The second is the level of the practitioner himself. The stronger the caster's own power and the more proficient he is in the reincarnation of the filthy earth, the closer the naturally resurrected dead will be to the power he had in life. Third, it is the wish of the caster. It depends on how much strength the caster wants to resurrect the deceased. Resurrecting a weak person is of no use, and resurrecting masters are afraid of being unable to control it, so the strength of this reincarnated person needs to be controlled by the caster himself. But now, there are still many flaws in this technique, and Orochimaru needs to improve it himself. Orochimaru opened his Sharingan, quickly recorded all the information on this technique, and then continued to read further. The third Flying Thunder God technique, the fastest space-based teleportation technique in the entire ninja world. Record decisively without explanation. The fourth one, multiply the detonating talismans with each other. It's similar to the principle of Shuriken Shadow Clone Jutsu. It's just that this is a copy of the detonating talisman. Because the explosion was too powerful and could easily hurt oneself, it was sealed. Just increase the explosive power of the detonating talisman. It's useless. The fifth and sixth, Izanagi and Izanami. Izanagi is a destiny-changing technique. Izanami is just the opposite, this is a technique that determines fate. Seeing these two techniques, Orochimaru couldn't help but be stunned. Isn't this the forbidden technique of the Uchiha clan? Why here? But soon, Orochimaru figured it out. Danzo in the original work was able to use Izanagi. Considering Danzo's relationship with Uchiha, he couldn't have gone to the Uchiha clan to learn this forbidden technique, right? So this should be when the first Hokage and Uchiha Madara were still there, they jointly made this technique a forbidden technique. This gave Danzo a chance to learn. Well, then the question is, do you want to learn these two forbidden techniques? You know, although these two techniques are powerful, one eye will be blinded if used once. This side effect cannot be counteracted even by having the body of an immortal. Izanami is actually useless. It is just a technique that allows people to see themselves clearly and recognize their true self. This technique was originally developed to save the Uchiha people who fell into arrogance. As long as you accept your original ending and stop escaping, Izanami will automatically cancel it, which means it will be cancelled after it has saved you. This is a technique that guides people to no longer rely on Izanagi and actively accept their fate. Also, because there is a risk of being unlocked at any time during battle, it is classified as a forbidden technique in the Uchiha clan. As for Izanagi, it is a technique that can be activated before the battle. Any adverse factors that occur during the execution of the technique can be transformed into a dream. It can be said that it is an extra life. This is more useful to me than Izanami, but the effect is only average. After Orochimaru thought for a moment, he finally decided to record it. Although the price of losing an eye is high, what if one day I can use it? It's better than nothing. After recording with Sharingan, Orochimaru continued to look behind. No more behind? Seeing the blank space at the back, Orochimaru was a little surprised, but not surprised. Surprisingly, there are really few forbidden arts on it. What is not surprising is that during this time, there are many forbidden arts that are not available, which is normal. For example, the 8-gate dungeon in the memory. It should not have been developed yet. And the sealing of corpses. This should be the sealing technique of the Uzumaki clan. At this time, except for Uzumaki Kushina, no one else should know it. And maybe even Kushina herself doesn't know it yet. So, naturally, it won't appear in the Book of Sealings. Well, after reading it several times, Orochimaru can be sure that now in the Book of Sealings, only Flying Thunder God and Earth Reincarnation are useful to me, and the others are not worth mentioning at all. Of course, this is enough. Because these two techniques are bugs. What is forbidden magic? Forbidden techniques do not necessarily mean powerful techniques, but techniques that have too many side effects or can easily cause great harm to oneself, or are contrary to human ethics and have to be sealed, are called forbidden techniques. Ninjas are not allowed to learn this type of technique. It is even more forbidden to study forbidden arts. Unless the village agrees, ordinary ninjas will not be able to touch forbidden arts in their lifetime. But, Orochimaru is obviously an exception. He took advantage of Danzo's privileges in Konoha and obtained many things that were and were not his own. Various research permissions, various research equipment, first-generation Hokage cells, sealed books, etc. These are things that the original Orochimaru came into contact with, but now Orochimaru has not come into contact with. Therefore, these things belong to him, but they do not belong to him. It was a pleasure working with Danzo. Danzo got what he wanted, and Orochimaru got what he wanted. This is a mutually beneficial win-win situation, and everyone is happy. In the next period of time, Orochimaru has something to do. Research forbidden techniques. Well, it's a very interesting research project. Flying Thunder God and Earth Reincarnation are both semi-finished products, so he needs to master these two techniques and then perfect them. As for which technique to choose first to perfect, there seems to be no need to think about it. Reincarnation in dirty soil is more troublesome and requires living sacrifices. In this current situation, it is of course safer to choose Flying Thunder God first. Therefore, during the next period of time, apart from necessary daily life, Orochimaru was studying the Flying Thunder God. An S-level time and space ninjutsu developed by the second Hokage. The spell can be used to achieve instant movement. The caster will leave the Flying Thunder God spell on the target in advance, which can cause the caster or objects that are in indirect contact with the caster's chakra to move instantaneously. The caster is able to divert a target as large as the Kyuubi when full of energy. Under certain circumstances, teleportation is even possible. Orochimaru in the original novel had seen this technique, and the third Hokage and Danzo should have also seen it. Why was it that only Namikaze Minato learned it in the end? This is indeed a question worth studying. Everything seems to be developing according to the original trajectory. The only difference may be the early emergence of many technologies and Orochimaru's current ability. Orochimaru, Orochimaru. One sunny morning, there was a sudden knock on the door. Orochimaru had just put on his casual clothes, and couldn't help but be curious when he heard the sound. At this time, who would come to him in the morning? Open the door, take a look. A young man with white clothes and white hair is standing at the door. His white hair is not the silvery white of Hatake Sakumo, nor is it the white mixed with lavender like Kato Dan's, but a kind of grey. The grey hair. Kind. Beiliuhu. Orochimaru was a little surprised. Since he cooperated with Danzo, Orochimaru has not seen him again. Unexpectedly. Haha, you didn't Euro trademark expect that. Baliohu said with a smile. I just came back from a mission. As soon as I heard that you were also in the village, I came to find you. It seems like we haven't seen each other for a long time, right? How about calling Tsunade and Jiraiya and let's get together? Orochimaru smiled faintly. Okay, but Jiraiya is not in the village now. Not here? That's okay, let's call Tsunade along. I remember he has a younger brother, right? Baliohu seems to be very happy. Although we were childhood friends, they went their separate ways after they became adults. The three of Orochimaru became the Sunin, but Baliohu seems to be still a Chunin now? Well, the ending seems to be bad. It's a bit much. However, of course Orochimaru will not refuse Baliohu's proposal. Anyway, it's idle. Tsunade didn't stay with Orochimaru last night, so Orochimaru took him to the Senju clan after arriving here. Tsunade hadn't seen it yet, but she saw a familiar figure. A mesh short-sleeved top, a green miniskirt, black thigh-high socks, and a head of fiery red hair that was particularly conspicuous. Kushina? Haha, what a cute little girl. Cute? Very cute indeed. Although Kushina is a little girl now, her dress is very mature. This dress forms a very special contrast with her lowly appearance. Such a contrast, the first impression Mo gives is that this little girl is very cute. Hey? Why do you think this little girl is cute? Could it be that you are really a change? Orochimaru is a little doubtful. Big, Lord Orochimaru. Kushina was stunned when she heard Orochimaru's voice. Her tone could not help but be a little nervous. Like Uchiha Mikoto, she had a natural sense of awe for Orochimaru. This feeling did not come from Orochimaru. Maru's appearance comes from Orochimaru's aura. Yes, it's aura. This is an inexplicable feeling. Under normal circumstances, it will only appear in some high-ranking people or people who are powerful to a certain extent. On the body. When such a person appears, it gives people the impression that I am a level higher than you and you are not worthy to talk to me. But ordinary people do have an inferiority complex in front of him that I am not worthy to talk to you. Now this is how Kushina feels. It's just that Orochimaru doesn't know it now, and he just feels baffled by Kushina's nervousness. Is Uchiha Mikoto like this, and Kushina too? Kushina, are you nervous? What are you nervous about? I don't know either. Orochimaru's sudden question confused Kushina. She didn't know how to answer it at all. Hearing this answer, Orochimaru was even more confused. Don't know? Why are you so nervous? Kushina, well? Orochimaru, why are you here too? Tsunade opened the door in time to save the situation, and soon placed it behind Orochimaru. Hey, you are, Baliohu. Well, Tsunade, long time no see. Village head, barbecue restaurant. Jiraiya was not present at this gathering, and Mat Dai also did not come due to mission reasons. But there are two more little kids. A rope tree and a Kushina. However, when they were at the barbecue restaurant, although several people were sitting at the same long table, Orochimaru and 3 adults sat on one side, and Naoki and 2 little kids sat on the other side. It can be said that everyone talks about their own affairs. Naoki knows Kushina, but they are not very familiar with each other. Seeing Kushina sneaking glances at Orochimaru from time to time, Naoki couldn't help but feel curious while eating barbecue. Kushina, why do you keep peeking at my teacher from time to time? Without, nothing. Kushina said in a panic, and continued to steal a few glances at Orochimaru. Hey, Naoki, Orochimaru is your sister's boyfriend, right? Yeah, what's the problem? That, don't you feel weird when you learn ninjutsu from him? Strangeness? Nope. Shenchu said curiously. The teacher is so powerful. There are so many people who want to be his disciples. It's too late for me to be happy that I can become the teacher's disciple. Why do you think it's strange? Then he won't be very strict with you. Is it natural to be strict? After all, the battlefield is so cruel. If you are not stricter, you may not be able to come back from the battlefield. Is that so? Kushina was thoughtful, then she kept silent and ate the barbecue. For the current Uzumaki Kushina, the three ninjas are a legend. Among the three ninjas, Orochimaru is even more of a legend. I heard that most of the credit for defeating Hanzo was due to Orochimaru. One person led a team of Chunin who had just entered the battlefield and saved the entire IWA ninja defense line. This is more like a miracle. Plus the scientific ninja tools announced. This kind of person is really a legend. He is the idol of most Konoha shinobi. Anyone facing such a legendary ninja will become curious. She, Uzumaki Kushina, is certainly no exception. She was curious about what it would be like to be a disciple of the legendary ninja. Even more curious, what would it be like for Tsunade to be the girlfriend of a legendary ninja? Of course, she is curious, and she will not ask random questions when everyone is not familiar with them. Naoki, who was sitting opposite her, naturally didn't think much about it. Seeing Kushina eating sullenly, she also started to enjoy the meal together. And the other side. Hirahu, who was sitting across from the barbecue table, had heard about the relationship between Orochimaru and Tsunade even though they hadn't seen each other for a long time, and kept saying blessings to them. Both Tsunade and Orochimaru were perfunctory about this. After all, they were childhood playmates. After not seeing each other for such a long time, it was difficult for them to have a common language. Baileahu also noticed this, but didn't care. Because he felt that he had to be inferior in front of Orochimaru and the others. The three of them were of similar age, and Orochimaru and the others had already become Sunin, but he was still a Chunin. From this point alone, it is enough to see the gap between them. But it doesn't matter, it's just a party anyway, it's not about comparison. After everyone chatted for a while, the party ended quickly and several people parted ways. Looking at Beirahu's leaving figure, Orochimaru couldn't help but smile. Did you talk about developing this guy into your assistant or experimental subject before? But judging from the speed at which he is developing technology, it seems that he is not needed at all. Sister, teacher, I went to the training ground to practice ninjutsu. Now Shu found an excuse to run away. He has grown up and has his own life circle. Naturally, he will not stay with his sister and brother-in-law all the time. Well, go for it. Feeling the growth of the rope tree, Tsunade was also very happy and waved her hand very casually. Goodbye. That, I'm leaving too. Thank you two adults for your hospitality. What are you being polite about? Tsunade smiled. By the way, Kushina, remember you will be taking the graduation exam soon, right? Yes, Tsunade-sama. Well, you must work hard. I will. Watching the two children leave, Tsunade smiled slightly and was about to say something to Orochimaru, but found that Orochimaru beside him seemed to be absent-minded. Hello? What are you thinking about? Nothing. Orochimaru came to his senses. Let's go back first. After saying that, Orochimaru ignored her, put his hands in his trouser pockets and walked back. Tsunade was a little confused, but didn't think much about it, and quickly followed her, and naturally took Orochimaru's arm. At this time, Orochimaru, however, glanced at the place where Kushina left without leaving a trace, and at the same time his thoughts were racing in his heart. Uzumaki Kushina, the nine-tailed Jinchuriki, and the current Tsunade must not know about it. The only one who knows, maybe Mu Senior yet and some Anbu who are performing tasks? If they want to gain the power to control everything, they cannot let go of the tailed beasts. But how to obtain the tailed beasts? It is a big problem. Not to mention the Anbu who secretly monitor the Jinchuriki, Hikaru it's the seal on the Jinchuriki, so there's no way to break it. Since the seal can't be broken, naturally you can't get the tailed beast. So, what other way should you use to get the tailed beast? Kill her? This is simply not possible reality. You know, the lives of Jinchuriki and the lives of tailed beasts are closely connected. Once Kushina dies, the nine tails will disappear. Although the nine tails itself is a chakra body, it will be resurrected after death. But after resurrection the time and place are not fixed. So killing people is just a last resort. It only makes things more and more troublesome and has no effect at all. But what else can we do to get the tailed beast? Orochimaru frowned. Pain's reincarnation eyes phantom dragon Ju seal? Forcibly separate the Jinchuriki and the tailed beast? This requires the reincarnation eye to do, so let's not consider it for now. Then? Wait for the seal to loosen? This is indeed a method, because when the Jinchuriki gives birth, the seal will indeed loose. This is what Obito Uchiha did in the original work. But Kushina is only 10 years old now. Waiting for her to give birth? I don't know how many years and months I have to wait. And even if I can really wait until that time, isn't the Jinchuriki still from Konoha? Thinking of this, Orochimaru closed his eyes in despair. Could it be that he really could only do his old job and lure her away from Konoha village? Uzumaki Kushina, because she is from another village, plus Kama usually has an irritable personality, so she doesn't have many friends in Konoha. Tsunade? She's just her senior. Naoki? The two of them are not in the same level, and they usually have their own tasks. They are just acquaintances, and they are not friends at all. Friend. So Kushina is actually very lonely. Orochimaru believes that as long as he deliberately approaches her and instills some special ideas into her, it will be easy to abduct her. But this is also the most ideal situation. You know, during the day at that time, there were ANBU monitoring her. If she approached her too frequently, it would definitely arouse the suspicion of the third generation. Moreover, in Konoha village, she would not have the time to abduct her. By then, she would not get the Kyuubi, and she would still cause trouble. She's all sexy. It's still a very uneconomical deal. Forget it, let's keep him under surveillance first and then look for opportunities. Orochimaru muttered to himself. System, redeem some pinhole cameras. Yes, host. System? Orochimaru hasn't exchanged anything in the system mall for a long time. Remember the last time you exchanged it, it was the wireless headphones you gave to the Uchiha clan a few years ago? Shaking his head and no longer thinking about it, Orochimaru began to look for something suitable for his own use in the system store. The items in the system mall are all auxiliary props that can be directly exchanged, but cannot be mass-produced. If you want to mass-produce, you need to research daily life-related technologies. During the current war, Orochimaru obviously has no time to study this. The pinhole camera is a low-end technology and requires very few technological points, not even as good as a raw material for gene repair fluid. There is one technology point for 1 to 3, and there are various types. And Orochimaru believes that any of these things would be more advanced than the most advanced surveillance equipment in Konoha village. As for how to install it, this is simply not too easy for Orochimaru. Just find Konoha's surveillance equipment, go around a blind corner, and sneak in when Kushina is not around. Anyway, the ANBU monitoring Kushina is not available 24 hours a day. A week later, in a locked guest room of Orochimaru's house, 6 surveillance screens appeared. Looking at the 6 perspectives in the surveillance camera, Orochimaru nodded with satisfaction. 6 perspectives, one is the bedroom, one is the living room, one is the corridor, and the other 3 are the streets at the front and back doors of the yard. The perspective of monitoring is relatively comprehensive, and the purpose is to record Kushina's living habits so as to prepare for possible future actions. Kushina's home in Konoha is not small, but its location is not a good one. It is similar to Danzo's and belongs to the edge of the village. Orochimaru monitors Kushina for the sake of Kyuubi. Konoha monitors Kushina to ensure the safety of the Jinchuriki. But now, Konoha is not only monitoring Kushina, but also Orochimaru. The reason goes without saying. It's just that they didn't monitor Orochimaru that much. They just asked the ANBU responsible for the area around Danzo's routes to pay a little attention to Orochimaru's whereabouts. After all, with Orochimaru's current vigilance, it would be unrealistic for the ANBU to specifically follow him. Orochimaru was naturally aware of Sarutobi Hiruzen's attention. But again, he didn't care about it. Since he agreed to Danzo's request, does it mean that he has been involved in the vortex of political struggle and wants to withdraw? This is simply not realistic. Therefore, he could only pretend not to know, just like Sarutobi pretended not to know that Danzo was playing tricks. Everyone knows it, but they just don't tell it. If we don't expose it, we are still masters and disciples, and we are friends. Once exposed, we will be in trouble. This would be a fatal disaster for Konoha. Time passes like this day by day. In May of the 34th year of Konoha, 1 month later, it will be the day when Orochimaru will go to the front line to change defenses. But at this time, Orochimaru left Konoha village. In an open space more than 30 kilometers away from Konoha village, a battle of uneven power was taking place. 5 unknown ninjas from a small country were holding the swords in their hands at this time, staring intently at the long-haired man in front of them wearing a Konoha Jounin vest. They bowed slightly and formed a circle, looking at the man in front of them as if they were facing a formidable enemy. They did not relax their vigilance at all because of their numerical advantage. Looking carefully, the bodies of 3 companions were already lying on the ground around them. And the long-haired man? Facing the siege of 5 people, he didn't feel panic at all. He just looked at them indifferently, with a faint smile on his lips. A black snake was wrapped around his arm, staring at the people around him with a ferocious smile. Jounin of Konoha, snake, are you, Orochimaru, one of the 3 ninjas? What a surprise! Orochimaru said with a smile on his face. Even you wandering ninjas know about my existence. Damn it, are you really Orochimaru? Guaranteed replacement if fake. How can it be? Why would a guy like Orochimaru appear here? Yes, it's wartime now. Cheat, that's a lie, hey. Several ninjas were confused just by hearing Orochimaru's name. The reputation of Orochimaru, one of the 3 ninjas, has spread throughout the ninja world, and even they have heard about it. But they can't figure it out at all. During this war, Orochimaru, one of the 3 ninjas, didn't go to the front lines to fight, so why did he come here to mess with them? They just fled to the land of fire and took advantage of the war to make money by killing people. Master, you are really amazing. Xiao He smiled ferociously. They were frightened just by hearing the master's name. Yes. Orochimaru grinned. He, Xia He, I want to live with these. Learn. As soon as he finished speaking, Xiao He disappeared from everyone's sight. Seeing this scene, everyone was stunned again. Disappeared? How can it be? Sure enough, the rumors are true, bad, dangerous. Escape. Bastard, why did you meet this guy? The 5 ninjas sensed something was wrong and quickly ran away in the opposite direction. The name of a person is the shadow of a tree. A person of Orochimaru's level is simply not something that ninjas like them can fight against. They understand this very well, so they determined after discovering the identity of the other party, they chose to escape without any hesitation. But, run away now, it's too late. When one person just said to retreat, Orochimaru's figure had already appeared behind him, and his blood-red eyes made people feel even more monstrous. This is Sharingan? Bang! A palm knife hit the man on the back of the neck. The man fainted before he could react. Orochimaru didn't even look at it and directly raised his hand towards the other man. Latent Shadow Snake Hand. Don't underestimate people. Boom, boom, boom. Bang, bang, bang. The other people knew they were no match. As they flew back quickly, they kept throwing detonating symbols and smoke bombs. The entire open space was suddenly filled with smoke. They wanted to use the smoke bombs to block their sight and escape. But just when they thought they could escape successfully, several identical figures around them blocked their way. Orochimaru's clone? Now that we have decided to catch someone alive, how could we not be fully prepared? And after seeing my Sharingan, I have no reason to let you go. Come on, be the first batch of sacrifices for my art. Tani Chuan is a wandering ninja. Wandering ninja means unorthodox ninjas who wander around. They do not belong to any ninja village. They travel between countries and secretly learn the ninjutsu of each country. In the ninja world, there are many such ninjas. After they gain strength, they don't like to be restrained by others, and they often fall into various professions in the ninja world. Those who like political power go to seize the political power of small countries. Those who like power go to some small ninja villages and spend many years planning to seize their secret techniques. If you mix well, you can become a famous name in a small country. If you mix poorly, you can become a bandit. The purpose of Tani Chuan and the others coming to the country of fire was not for strength or power. They are just in it for the money. Because this country is at war with other countries, when they come here, they can fish in troubled waters and steal a lot of money. Seeking money and killing people is commonplace. Everything was going smoothly until today, when they met this long-haired man. Orochimaru, one of the 3 ninjas. A legend in the ninja world. At the beginning, they didn't know that this long-haired man was the legendary ninja, so they planned to bully the small number and kill this Konoha Jounin. You know, the Jounin of Konoha are very strong, and their one-on-one abilities are among the best. They are simply not comparable to wandering ninjas like them. But there were 8 of them and decided to give it a try. Because if you are a Jounin, you must have a lot of good things in your body. If you kill him, these things will belong to them. But now, he regrets it. At this time, he finally understood why the other party dared to arrest them alone. So this person is Orochimaru? One of the Sunin who defeated Hanzo the Sanshouiu. If he had known that this guy was Orochimaru, his first reaction would have been to run away. How could he fight him? The moment he was knocked unconscious by Orochimaru, only one thought flashed through his mind. Isn't this guy Orochimaru, one of the 3 ninjas? How could there be a Sharingan? The Sharingan is the bloodline limit of the Konoha Uchiha clan. Their clansmen have black hair and black eyes. This is something that all ninjas from small countries know. Although Orochimaru has black hair, his pupils are golden snake pupils. How could he be from the Uchiha clan? What on earth is it? It's a pity that he has no chance to know the reason. Because when he woke up, he found himself lying in an empty wooden house, with his hands and feet cuffed behind his back by cold metal shackles. The shackles were very strong, and with his current strength, there was no way he could break free. Is he imprisoned? This is. He slowly opened his eyes and looked at his companion kneeling on the ground opposite him and the special spells on the ground around him. He suddenly had a bad feeling. Then, his vision gradually became clearer, and Orochimaru appeared in his eyes holding a kunao and a scroll. The scroll was spread flat on the ground by Orochimaru, and the kunao was placed in the center of the scroll. Snapped! Orochimaru, who was half crouching on the ground, suddenly put his hands together. Psychic, dirty land reincarnation. Wow! Countless earth-like substances quickly condensed from the ground, and soon covered his companions. From his feet kneeling on the ground to the top of his head. Ah! The screams of his companions also rang out immediately. Immediately afterwards, the earth-like material fell off quickly, and his companion actually changed his appearance? How can it be? His eyes widened, with an incredible look on his face. This companion of his actually turned into another companion, Edo? And he was still breathing? Wasn't Edo killed by Orochimaru before? Why can he still breathe? Could it be that he was still breathing? Yes, Resurrected? But before he had time to react, he found Orochimaru, who had picked up the kunai, and the terrifying snake eyes were staring at him. Are you awake? Just in time. Just right? What's just right? Tanichuan didn't react at all, but the next second, he saw Orochimaru put the kunai with the charm in his hand on the back of Ito's head, and then opened the handcuffs and shackles for him. Ito's face gradually became angry, and Orochimaru also gave the order at this time. Go ahead and kill your companions. What? Tanichuan widened his eyes and looked at his companions in disbelief. Although Orochimaru's order sounded a bit fanciful, Tanichuan felt that this kind of thing might be true. Sure enough. Looking at himself, the dead companion walked towards him step by step. Tanichuan was surprised and had a look of horror on his face. What kind of technique is it? A few days later, in a temporary wooden house in the wilderness. Looking at the several corpses in front of him, Orochimaru sighed helplessly. Sure enough, there are not many flaws in the reincarnation of the dirty land. Even if you are well prepared, you still fail so many times. There is no doubt that Orochimaru's purpose of catching stray ninjas alone was to conduct an experiment on the reincarnation of the dirty land. And the experiment of the reincarnation of the dirty soil failed. Now he still remembers that before the man even walked in front of his companion, his soul returned directly to the pure land. The result was a human sacrifice wasted. He recorded the reasons for the failure, then improved the technique and continued the experiment. After staying here for several days, he had no choice but to stop after all 5 living people were killed by him. Reincarnation from dirty soil itself belongs to the category of spiritualism. But there is no need to sign a contract, you only need to obtain the DNA of the deceased, and use the magic of earth reincarnation to recall the soul of the deceased to the present world. After Orochimaru had almost completed the study of Flying Thunder God, he began to study this technique. But this technique was completely different from other techniques, so he had to try it once according to the method recorded by the second Hokage, and then record the data through continuous experiments to find ways to make up for it and slowly improve it. Therefore, Orochimaru found an excuse and ran out to find living people for experiments. It's just that the results are somewhat unsatisfactory. And just catching stray ninjas to do this experiment is really a waste of time. Because wandering ninjas don't appear every day, and catching them requires some effort. But Orochimaru also knew that at this time, there was nothing he could do about it. Because I need to participate in the war, I don't have time to develop too many forces. Without power, it would naturally be impossible to capture too many living people and lock them up for experiments. Catching stray ninjas is the safest and surest way. Shaking his head and no longer thinking about it, Orochimaru threw a fire to deal with this place, then turned and walked towards Konoha. Orochimaru! Orochimaru! After walking less than 2 kilometers, Orochimaru heard the anxious cry of a woman. Hearing this sound, Orochimaru paused, then rushed towards the direction of the sound. Soon, beside the forest path, a woman wearing the same jounin vest appeared in his sight. Tsunade? What are you so anxious about? Seeing Orochimaru suddenly appearing in front of her, Tsunade complained. You guys, you have been worried about me to death when you have been out for half a month without any news. Do you know? What's there to worry about? Don't you still understand my strength? This is wartime. If you run around, who knows who you will meet? Okay, let's talk about it when we get back, eh? Did you come here by yourself? Of course, with the chaos outside, I wouldn't worry if other people came out. Is that so? Orochimaru smiled evilly. That's just right. What's just right? Us, it seems that I have never tried it in the wild. Well? You guys have indeed followed Jiraiya's bad example. It's broad daylight and it's a barren mountain. What are you thinking about? I'll pay it back. Hey, wait a minute. Before Tsunade could finish her words, Orochimaru had already pulled her deep into the jungle. Why do men like innocent girls when they are teenagers, but when they get older, they like wives with mature sexual harmony, feelings. Because after there are too many maidens, it no longer matters whether they are pure or not. What they care about most is the enjoyment process at that time. The biggest difference between a married woman and a girl is that when you do certain things, you don't need to make any extra movements. You just need to use a few movements to indicate what to do, and the other party will know what to do. When you stand, she knows how to kneel down, when you kneel, she knows how to pout, and when you lie down, she knows how to sit on you. This is the ultimate experience that ordinary girls cannot give. Orochimaru and Tsunade have been together for a long time. Now Tsunade has been led astray by Orochimaru. At the same time, she also loves Orochimaru very much, so much that she can't help herself. Therefore, she had no way to refuse Orochimaru's requests. Although it is a barren mountain, with the abilities of the two of them, it should be impossible for anyone to discover it, right? And I have tried all kinds of weird postures, so I don't care if I try this time, right? Tsunade had many thoughts in her mind. And once this thought arises, it is impossible to disappear. So, half-heartedly, the two found a suitable location and ordered a couple's set meal. While Orochimaru and Tsunade were fighting in the wild, several special guests came to Konoha village. Most of them have dark skin, wear white cloth uniforms, have cloud-like forehead protectors on their foreheads, and carry a special ninja sword on their backs. The leader looked very strong, and next to him was a small man. The little man raised his head and glanced at the village in front of him. This is Konoha village, it looks great. Isn't it? The environment feels better than our village. No matter how good it is, it's still someone else's village. Okay, stop talking nonsense and leave quickly, business is important. The captain is right, let's go. Yes. The chat ended, and a few people stepped into the gate of Konoha in a big way. Konoha village has a barrier. Entering from other places other than the gate will trigger the barrier and be regarded as enemies by the ninjas of Konoha. Therefore, they were walking through the main gate. The moment they entered Konoha village, the Konoha gatekeepers noticed their presence and hurriedly greeted them without thinking. Well, are you guests of Yun Ninja village? Yes, take us to meet your Hokage-sama. Please come in. Cloud Ninja village was Konoha's main enemy during the First World War. The two villages also had an earth-shattering showdown. But because of that duel, the two villages temporarily formed an alliance. And not long ago, the Cloud Ninja village of the Land of Thunder helped Konoha deal with the IWA Ninja, which can be said to be a sincere alliance. And they came here this time to discuss the specific matters of this war. The Kumo ninjas were walking on the street, and the Konoha ninjas on both sides of the road looked at them in surprise. There were even many Konoha ninja who came here after hearing the news, just to see what the Kumo ninja looked like. Damn it, this guy from Kumo ninja. Damn it, these guys actually dare to come to Konoha. Hey, wait, what do you want to do? The guy from Yunin village killed my father, what do you think I'm going to do? Idiot, are you crazy? The current Cloud Ninja village is an ally of our village? Are you trying to disrupt the peace between the two villages and start a war? This, damn it, what a bastard. Countless similar conversations happened in every corner of Konoha. You know, the hatred caused by the war cannot be eliminated in a day or two. Many of the Kumo ninjas' relatives died at the hands of Konoha ninjas. Many people's relatives also died in the hands of Yun ninja. They hated each other and wanted to tear each other into pieces. How could such hatred be easily resolved? They just wanted to think about it, but they didn't dare to do it. Because most of the ninjas are loyal to the village. They cannot ignore the authority of Konoha's high-level officials and privately attack the Kumo ninja village of the Konoha alliance. This will restart the war between the two countries. With the war, corpses are everywhere, everyone can predict this. So no matter how much they hate each other, they can only watch now. Cloud Ninja. That night, when Orochimaru and Tsunade returned to Konoha village, they couldn't help but be stunned when they heard passers-by talking about the news. Is Kumo ninja coming to Konoha at this time to discuss things related to the war with the village? Orochimaru seemed to have thought of it. Order something. What's wrong? Walking on the road, Tsunade noticed Orochimaru's emotions and asked in a low voice. Orochimaru curled his lips. It's okay, I just suddenly thought of something fun. Something fun? The cheongsam I ordered some time ago seems to be almost ready. Orochimaru smiled and changed the topic. You guy. Tsunade's face turned red and she was very embarrassed, but she did not let go of Orochimaru's hand. It has to be said that in front of Tsunade, Orochimaru became more and more unruly, and Tsunade was led further and further. Orochimaru would never say such explicit words before, and Tsunade would definitely be angry if he did. But once a couple has a substantial relationship, everything seems to become natural. Therefore, when Orochimaru and Tsunade are alone, nothing they say will be strange. A few days later, in the afternoon, in a guest room in Konoha village, several ninjas wearing Cloud Ninja forehead protectors were gathering together to discuss something. They were fully armed and had a makeshift map in front of them. Hey, has Ryuzuke investigated clearly? Well, at 9 o'clock in the evening, the barrier of Konoha village will be closed once, and it will last about 30 seconds. We calculate the time and after arresting the person, we can just jump over the wall from this direction and escape. The ninja named Ryuzuke pointed to a corner on the map in front of him. The strong man in the lead nodded. Did you observe carefully? It's not wrong, this is the pattern these days. I guess it should be the shift change time of Konoha's barrier department. Very good, this little girl's chakra is very special, and with her red hair, she is definitely our target. Let's check the time, we will take action tonight. Clear. Learn. After several Cloud Ninjas discussed it, they quickly started their own preparations. They were extremely well prepared, and they came prepared at first sight. But they would never have thought that there was a man sitting at this moment on the sofa at home. Holding a cup of hot tea in his hand, he looked at them with interest. It felt like playing cat and mouse. Sure enough, it was exactly the same as in my memory. Ha ha ha, this feeling of being in control of everything is really good. Yun Ninja Village is a village that likes to study secret arts. Now they are in the stage of studying how to control the Jinhyuri Ki. After the last time the third Hokage asked for help from the Cloud Ninja Village, one of them, a sentient ninja, had already visited the Leaf Village once. Originally, they didn't have any evil intentions when they first came, but while wandering around Konoha, this perceptive ninja accidentally discovered a special existence. A little girl with the ability to suppress the chakra of tailed beasts, Uzumaki Kushina. So after they returned, they told the third Raikage about this. After some discussion, the senior leaders of Yunin village decided to use the alliance between the two parties to visit Konoha again. The purpose is to capture Kushina and help control the Jinhyuri Ki. What? Will arresting people affect the alliance between the two countries? At this time, alliances are no longer important. You know, why does Yun Ninja like to study secret techniques so much? It's not just because they have ambitions similar to Danzo's. As long as the Jinhyuri Ki of his own village can control the tailed beasts, the alliance contract is nothing. So, they found the right opportunity and came directly. Originally, according to the original idea, Kushina would be captured by these Cloud Ninjas, and Namikaze Minato would go to the rescue. After the hero saved the beauty, the two developed some different feelings. In the end, the relationship got better and better, they got married and had children, and they were reborn as Uzumaki Naruto as the savior. Everything looks very beautiful. But now, Orochimaru is obviously not ready to give Namikaze Minato this chance. Because this is the best opportunity to get close to Kushina, he will not let it go so easily. To capture Kushina, Orochimaru himself can't do it, but if someone else does it for him, So after he remembered this, he decisively found an opportunity to put bugs and pinhole cameras in their room. And just to be on the safe side, he also put 2 invisible flies in for all-round investigation. Cloud ninjas will only guard against the monitoring equipment and capabilities they know, and will naturally not notice Orochimaru's monitoring methods. So all their plans and secret conversations were heard clearly by Orochimaru. As time goes by, night gradually falls. The Kumo ninjas were preparing, and so was Orochimaru. The Kumo ninjas were fully armed and ready to kidnap Kushina Uzumaki. Orochimaru, on the other hand, was leisurely taking a hot bath. After washing, he wrapped himself in a bath towel, took some bread and milk, and came to the control room, waiting for the show to unfold. Now the monitoring screen has become 8. Orochimaru was not in a hurry, he had plenty of time anyway. In his words, he has a 40-meter sword, so he can let them run 39 meters first. At 8 o'clock in the evening, there was only 1 hour left before the Kumo ninja took action. Orochimaru put down everything in his hands and quietly looked at the surveillance screen in front of him. In order to reduce the risk, Yunin will definitely take action in the last 5 minutes or so, Orochimaru believes in this. At 8:30, the Cloud Ninjas were ready to go. They loaded up their weapons and equipment and were ready to kidnap people along designated routes. Orochimaru stood up, ready to go out and get some more food. But at this moment, he suddenly heard a noise in his living room. This seems to be the sound of footsteps made by high-heeled sandals on the floor. Before he could take any action, a surprised voice suddenly rang out. Orochimaru, what are you doing? Orochimaru turned his head and happened to see Tsunade, wearing a white t-shirt and purple jacket, standing at the door of the monitoring room. Her dark green eyes were fixed on the 8 screens in front of Orochimaru, with an incredible look on her face. Look! Tsunade? Why did you come in without knocking? Orochimaru didn't answer the question, and frowned a little at the same time. This room was locked before, so Tsunade never knew what was in it. But now? Maybe this is the disadvantage of having a good relationship. Didn't I want to give you a surprise? Seeing Orochimaru frowning, Tsunade immediately put other things behind her and became a little overwhelmed. This was the first time Orochimaru showed such emotions to her. She felt very wronged. Didn't she often do that before? Are you coming in like this? Euro trademark VE never seen this guy like this. You. Seeing Tsunade's appearance, Orochimaru let out a sigh of relief. Oh, forget it, come in and sit down, and close the door by the way. Tsunade nodded subconsciously. After coming in and closing the door, she returned her attention to the screen in front of Orochimaru. Orochimaru, what is this? Monitoring device? Tsunade glanced at the screen and quickly knew what it was. Because Konoha village also has equipment similar to this, but the effect is different. Roughly the same. Orochimaru nodded casually. So what are you monitoring? Hey, this is, no way, Orochimaru? Looking at the surveillance screen, Tsunade exclaimed, is this guy really a changer? Are you actually peeking at Kushina sleeping? Unforgivable, absolutely unforgivable. Tsunade suddenly became angry, with a little bit of unwillingness in her anger. Why am I still so cooperative with you? So you have always had this special hobby? What do you think I am? Tool? And Kushina is just a little girl. As my boyfriend, how can you do such a thing? Tsunade, what on earth are you talking about? Orochimaru interrupted Tsunade's excited words with a dark face. This woman was getting more and more outrageous. Did she really look like a changer? However, after Tsunade's reminder, Orochimaru saw that, in the surveillance picture of the bedroom in the upper left corner, Kushina seems to be preparing to take off her clothes and go to bed. But that's not the point at all. Can you see it clearly before talking about it? You've become a Sunin, why do you still jump to conclusions so quickly when things happen? A little girl who hasn't even started to grow yet. She only takes off her coat. What's so good about her? Well. Hearing Orochimaru's words, Tsunade realized that the place Orochimaru was staring at didn't seem to be Kushina's room. That, it seems that I have indeed misunderstood. Haha, Orochimaru, you won't mind, right? Tsunade laughed in an attempt to change the subject, and Orochimaru didn't want to talk to her now. Okay, stop making trouble and watch carefully. Look. What to see? Hey, this is Cloud Ninja. Seeing the fully armed Cloud Ninja, Tsunade also noticed something was wrong. What are they going to do? Orochimaru smiled playfully. Shouldn't you ask me first where these devices come from? Where did the equipment come from? This is indeed a problem. But Tsunade obviously didn't care about this. Why do I ask you this? Isn't it a matter of course that you have these things? Of course? Haha, that's right. Hearing Tsunade's words, Orochimaru also raised his lips. Indeed, what he is using now is not computer monitoring, but small TV screens one after another. This kind of small screen looks no better than Konoha's monitoring. The equipment is so high-end. Therefore, Tsunade does not have too many doubts. You must know that her scientific research talents have long been known to people around her. There are also many scientific research results that have appeared on her body. She also makes scientific ninja tools. The laboratory is relatively high-tech. Therefore, they will not find it strange when any high-tech products appear on their bodies, and they have even become accustomed to it. Just like before, they loaded many thermal weapons into scrolls and pulled them. The same as on the front line. It seemed incredible, but it made sense when it appeared on him. Thinking of this, Orochimaru sat down, smiled and hooked Tsunade. Tsunade sat down in Orochimaru's arms sensibly. It is a tacit understanding between lovers. Originally, Tsunade wanted to ask why Orochimaru monitored Kushina. But after seeing the actions of the Kumo ninjas, she felt that now was not the time to ask this. Orochimaru, what are they going to do? You'll find out later. Help me. In the house on the edge of Konoha, Kushina heard some noises outside the room, put on her coat and opened the door in a daze. But as soon as he opened the door, he saw those figures wearing unfamiliar forehead protectors. Before she could finish her words for help, Yun Ninja covered her mouth. Moreover, the Kumo ninjas were quick to knock Kushina unconscious and resisted. All actions were done in one go, from entering the yard, to kidnapping, to leaving, in less than a minute. A group of 3 people, carrying Kushina on their shoulders, arrived at the wall of Konoha village. The barrier arrived and disappeared as expected. It's now. Walk. Whoosh whoosh. Several after images flashed by. It only took them a few seconds to cross the wall of Konoha and disappear into Konoha village under the darkness of night. After they left Konoha, they walked quickly, until after running 2 kilometers and confirming that there were indeed no pursuers behind, I breathed a sigh of relief. Phew, it's finally safe. Yes. Hey, wait, tie up this girl first. Hearing these sounds in a daze, and then feeling her tied wrists, Kushina was terrified. She knew that she was kidnapped by the Cloud Ninja. Kidnapped? Thinking of this, I couldn't help but think of the tragedy of my fate. My small village was attacked and I lost my parents. My home was destroyed and I had nowhere to go. After arriving in Konoha inexplicably, I finally got familiar with the life here, but at this time I was kidnapped? It was hard for her to imagine what kind of fate would be waiting for her if she was really taken to Yun Ninja village like this. Come on, who will save me? Kushina cried out helplessly in her heart. She didn't want to be taken to the Cloud Ninja village, and she didn't want to lose the peaceful life she had now. She didn't want to. Boom! Yunren pulled the other end of the rope and kicked her on the lower back. causing her center of gravity to become unstable and she almost fell to the ground. Go quickly. If you don't want to suffer the pain of flesh and blood, you'd better be honest. The rough movements and vulgar words of the Cloud Ninja made Kushina feel worse and worse. But she had no choice but to move forward mechanically according to the instructions of the Cloud Ninja. Of course, she did not give up. In order to leave clues for her rescuers, she tore off her red hair one after another and threw it on the ground when Kumo Renren was not prepared. In this way, she tried to get the people of Konoha to follow them. She found herself. However, as time went by, her heart became more and more desperate. Because she suddenly thought that she was an outsider and had no friends in the village. She was kidnapped at night. This kind of when the time comes, who will come to save me? What to do? Is this really the end of me? She was a little unwilling. But what can be done if she is unwilling? Judging from the current situation, even if the Konoha ninjas are aware of it and want to rush to save people, it is already too late. Because we are almost at the border of the Land of Fire. We are out. At the border of the Land of Fire, even if the Konoha ninjas came over, it would be of no use. Thinking of this, Kushina's heart was filled with despair. It was over, everything was over. But just as Kushina's heart fell into despair, the Kumo ninjas the shouting suddenly rang out. Who? The sound came very suddenly, but she seemed not to hear it and still walked forward mechanically. Bang! The rope tied to her wrist was suddenly pulled back. She couldn't resist this sudden force and she was pulled by this force and sat on the ground. The discomfort in her body made her aware of something. She subconsciously raised her head slowly. She saw a ghost-like black shadow in the woods in front of her. This black shadow inserted its hands into her trouser pocket. She ignored the warnings of the 3 cloud ninjas around her and was slowly walking towards them. Then, a familiar and unfamiliar man appeared in her eyes. Pale skin, flowing long hair, and a look of contempt at the corner of his mouth smile. Big, Lord Orochimaru? Kushina was extremely surprised. She didn't expect that Orochimaru, one of the 3 ninjas, would appear here. Whoosh! 3 figures quickly jumped away, looking at Orochimaru with a wary look on his face. Taking Kushina with him while the Kumo ninja retreated, he also strangled Kushina's neck. Jounin of Konoha. Obviously, they have only heard of Orochimaru's name, but have never seen Orochimaru's appearance. Before Orochimaru made his move, they did not know Orochimaru's identity. But they saw the Konoha Jounin on Orochimaru's body. Standard vest. Seeing the 3 of them facing a formidable enemy, Orochimaru's hoarse voice sounded faintly in order not to arouse Konoha's suspicion. Is that why the Cloud Ninja village sent you 3 weak fishes here? Hey, stop talking nonsense. The Cloud Ninja quickly drew out a kunai, turned his wrist and held the kunai against Kushina's neck. Although you are a jounin, if you want this little girl to live, just... Before Kumo ninja could say anything, he saw Orochimaru had disappeared. Immediately afterwards, a pair of golden vertical pupils appeared in front of him. Along with the vertical pupil, there was also the mocking look on the corner of Orochimaru's mouth. Just like that? Lay down your arms and surrender. Facing the unexpected Orochimaru, Kumo ninja was a little confused. He had no idea how Orochimaru appeared in front of him. Is it a teleportation technique? Impossible, no matter how fast the teleportation technique is, it is not this fast, and the distance is not this far. He subconsciously wanted to pierce the kunai in his hand into Kushina's neck, but found that his body could not move. It's extremely difficult to even move your fingers. Certainly, body holding technique. Yunren was horrified. How is this possible? However, he had no chance to think about this problem. Because his wrist had been caught by Orochimaru, and while rescuing Kushina, he wiped his own kunai towards his neck. Oh! Blood was scattered all over the floor. His strength gradually disappeared, and a sense of dizziness entered his mind. The endless darkness soon swallowed him up. Now Orochimaru has long been accustomed to killing people. The speed of killing people is even worse. It's a fast one. After Orochimaru killed the Kumo ninja who kidnapped Kushina, the other two people reacted. They quickly flew back in an attempt to distance themselves from Orochimaru. However, the gap in combat power between the two sides was too great. When Kushina came back to her senses, the three cloud ninjas had turned into three corpses. Looking at the white palms stretched out to her in front of her, she froze on the spot. Good, amazing. Kushina, it's okay. Hearing this hoarse voice, she felt relieved, and then she felt so dizzy. Immediately afterwards, she felt herself being hugged by someone. The solid chest and strong arms made her feel extremely at ease. This feeling of peace of mind made her want to sleep instinctively. But she still resisted sleeping. Instead, she looked at Orochimaru who was holding her, and asked her doubts. Lord Orochimaru, how could you come to rescue me? I felt that there was something wrong with the three Kumo ninjas before, so I paid more attention to them. Orochimaru lied casually. Could he say that he was spying on her and then using an invisible fly to follow her after she was captured? Obviously not. Why did you come to save me? I'm just a foreigner. Kushina looked a little sad when she said this. People from outside the village will be ostracized in the village. She has lived in Konoha for so long, and she knows this very well. Moreover, only those who have experienced it know how to be fatherless. What kind of experience is it like to come to a strange village without a mother? Hearing this, Orochimaru smiled faintly. A foreigner? Tsunade and I have always regarded you as our own family. Home, family? Kushina was stunned. Hey, Sarutobi-sensei, Cloud Ninja Village, why did you come to Konoha to capture Kushina? Konoha Village Hokage's office. In the morning, Tsunade came here as soon as possible to question Sarutobi Hiruzen. She originally wanted to go with Orochimaru to rescue Kushina, but Orochimaru told her to split up. Orochimaru went to save people, and she told Hiruzen Sarutobi about the matter. She thought that there must be no problem with Orochimaru's strength, so she agreed without thinking too much. Kumo ninja captured Kushina? Hearing Tsunade's words, Sarutobi Hiruzen was also confused. But he was the Hokage after all, and quickly calmed down. Tell me carefully, what's going on? Well, that's it. Orochimaru and I went out to enjoy the cool air last night and noticed something weird about those Kumo ninjas, so. Tsunade briefly explained what happened. And judging from the content of her report, she had confessed to Orochimaru. As the saying goes, if you marry a chicken, follow the chicken, if you marry a dog, follow the dog. Although she didn't know why Orochimaru wanted to spy on Kushina, but with her relationship with Orochimaru, she naturally had to help Orochimaru conceal some information that could easily cause trouble. After listening to Tsunade's story, Sarutobi Hiruzen couldn't help but frown. Where is Orochimaru now? Go after Kushina. Understood. The third Hokage nodded. With the strength of the three cloud ninjas, there would definitely be no problem if Orochimaru chased him in person. Thinking of this, he didn't waste any time and quickly summoned several ANBU to investigate the matter. Not long after, several high-level advisors from Konoha also came after hearing the news. Obviously, this matter attracted their great attention. Is this matter big? It must be big. The loss of the Jinhyuriki is not a trivial matter. Just this time Konoha was obviously careless. They thought the Kumo ninja were allies, and they had only been here once or twice. How could they have any evil thoughts about Konoha? What's more, the people who came were just three Kumo ninjas who were not very powerful. With their strength, how can they kidnap the nine-tailed Jinhyuriki? But in fact, these Kumo ninjas are obviously not fighting types, but the kind of ninjas who are good at layout. So even if they are as powerful as Konoha, they cannot escape. A calculated fate. Kidnapped Kushina? What does Yunin mean? At the meeting of 4 high-level officials in Konoha, Koharu frowned. During the alliance between the two countries, he actually sent someone to kidnap the Nine-Tails Jinhyuriki? Ignore the alliance contract between the two countries. Hey, alliance contract? Danzo sneered, that's just a piece of waste paper. Compared to the Nine-Tails Jinhyuriki, this is not worth mentioning at all. This is indeed a fact, but they didn't expect that they would be able to discover the existence of the Nine-Tailed Jinhyuriki after just one visit. Sarutobi, what do you think about this matter? Very tricky. Sarutobi Hiruzen also frowned and said, in this situation, we simply can't blame them for this. Because once the contract with the Cloud Ninja Village is broken, they will definitely stop using troops against the IWA Ninja. By then, our frontline battlefield will face unparalleled pressure. Going to bed, Koharu said, if we face the Sand Ninja and the Rock Ninja at the same time, maybe we can barely resist with the strength of the major families and the Sunin, but the question is whether the Yun Ninja village will be able to survive after breaking the contract. It also points the finger at us, this is the most troublesome. I think so too. Sarutobi Hiruzen took a deep breath. So this matter needs to be considered in the long run. After all, the village is still not strong enough. Danzo said calmly, if Konoha was strong enough, how could it drag the war until now? If we don't drag the war until now, why should we swallow our anger? Sarutobi, let Tsunade learn the first Hokage's wood release, if she can use it on the battlefield. Danzo is ambitious, but he is not a fool. Faced with the siege of 3 countries at the same time, even he has to be timid. Therefore, he did not propose to tear up the contract and start a fight with Yun Ninja this time. Only, let Tsunade learn would escape? Danzo didn't finish his words, but Hiruzen Sarutobi understood what he meant. Do you think I don't want to? Sarutobi Hiruzen said solemnly, however, you should also know very well. Although Tsunade awakened the wood release, she had never used the wood release to fight in the past 20 years. It would be impossible for her to practice wood release to the point where it could be used in large-scale wars in a short time. What's more, her medical ability is also very useful on the battlefield. Why should she give up medical ninjutsu and choose to use wood escape? The strategic significance is not as great as imagined. Well, that's true. Mito Minoyan nodded and was about to say something else when someone knocked on the office door. Lord Hokage! Come in. Anbu pushed open the door and entered. Hokage-sama, Orochimaru-sama is back. Orochimaru. After hearing this, several people immediately stopped their discussion and immediately called Orochimaru to the conference room. Orochimaru, how's the situation? As soon as Orochimaru entered, Sarutobi Hiruzen couldn't help but ask. Kushina is fine, but those 3 Kyumo ninjas were killed by me. Orochimaru looked indifferent, but the third Hokage was speechless. Because at this time, killing is not the best choice. Only by leaving one alive can he take the initiative in the negotiations with Yunren. If you arrest me as a Jinhyuriki, I will take the blame. I can demand compensation from you afterwards. But if the person dies now, it will be considered even. Konoha can no longer make a fuss about this matter. Of course, everyone is dead now, so it's useless to say anything. After Orochimaru reported the mission situation, he left the Hokage conference room with a relaxed look. Although he was dragged into Konoha's political whirlpool for power, he was not actually interested in these political issues. It's okay to let him be a consultant and do planning, but let him manage the village? He doesn't have the leisure. And what he cares about most now is whether he will really be a changed wife. I remember holding Kushina on the way back. You actually find it comfortable to hold a 10-year-old girl? How is this going? Do you really have this tendency? Orochimaru-sama, hello, what happened last night? A gentle voice interrupted Orochimaru's contemplation. Orochimaru slowly raised his head and saw a little yellow-haired man in sportswear appearing in front of him. Xiaohuang Mao is not only young and handsome, with a gentle voice, but also has a beautiful smile, very sunny. There was no doubt about the person coming, Namikaze Minato. A super genius who can become a disciple of Jiraiya and the fourth Hokage in the future. At the same time, he is also a rising star in the ninja world who masters the Flying Thunder God technique. Of course, the current Minato, like Kushina, is still a genin who has just graduated. And there is no real communication with Kushina. Orochimaru was not surprised that he could appear here. Because when he was chasing someone last night, he used a clone to be on the safe side and stopped Minato halfway. In other words, Minato did find out that Kushina had been arrested last night, but he was stopped by Orochimaru's clone. In this case, after knowing that Orochimaru was back, he came to ask about last night's situation. That's normal. It turns out to be Minato. After seeing the person coming, Orochimaru smiled faintly. She's fine, don't worry. Yet? That's good. Minato smiled awkwardly. Now he has a crush on Kushina, but he has not disclosed his feelings, so after hearing that Kushina was fine, he didn't know what else to say. Orochimaru didn't either. He ignored his need, said a few perfunctory words, and walked towards his home. Although before time travel, he also liked this sunny and handsome yellow-haired man, but now, what Minato's future will be has nothing to do with him. The food Orochimaru makes is delicious. Really? So awesome, I never thought that Orochimaru-sama could actually cook. Now, I can prove this. It's at least 100 times more delicious than what my sister makes. I guarantee you'll want to eat it again. Brother, do you think it's appropriate to say this to your sister? Ah, that, elder sister, I just said that casually, hey. Okay, you know your teacher is all-powerful, right? That's your brother-in-law anyway. Before he even entered the house, Orochimaru heard such a conversation coming from his own house. Pushing the door open and entering, everyone was there. Tsunade, Naoki, Kushina. Several people in casual clothes were sitting in the front yard chatting. Lord Orochimaru. Seeing Orochimaru come in, Kushina quickly stood up and called out politely. Orochimaru saved her, so she will no longer be afraid of Orochimaru. And for some reason, there is a lot more smiles on her face. You didn't sleep last night, don't you need some rest? No need, I just took a rest. Is that so? Seeing Kushina's shy and embarrassed look, Orochimaru was a little curious and was about to say something, but Tsunade touched his arm and pulled him into the inner room. What's wrong? That, before I prepare to go to the battlefield, let Kushina live with us. Orochimaru was a little confused. Do you need to tell me about such a trivial matter? Aren't I afraid that you won't agree? Is that so? Hearing this, Orochimaru curled up his lips. It seems that now you have the consciousness of being a wife. Hey, whatever you say, anyway, I want to take a good rest during this period, and I want to eat your cooking these days. Cooking? That's not possible, I don't have that much time. Do not have time? I know you're very busy with research, but why don't you take a good rest these days? No. Big deal, shall I give you a blowjob today? Tsunade seems to have mustered up great courage. It's not about this, I'm really busy. At most, I'll use Hun to help you. Do you think I'll give in? Okay, why don't you let me do it on your face? On your face? After hearing Tsunade's words, Orochimaru was stunned. After Tsunade was developed, was she so open-minded? Is she like this originally, or was she trained to be like this? After Orochimaru thought about it for a while, he was more inclined towards the latter. Because when the two first got together, although Tsunade was very clingy, she was definitely conservative and it was impossible to say such things. She could say this entirely because she had made a request in this regard, but she never agreed. So now, do you really have the potential to become a wife? Are you actually very moved by Tsunade's proposal? Orochimaru has now determined his situation. But it doesn't matter to him anymore, just become too old. Anyway, Orochimaru in the original novel is a Gentai better than himself, but the field of Gentai is different. Orochimaru did not refuse Tsunade's proposal this time. Although he didn't know why Tsunade would make such a big sacrifice to eat the food she cooked, he didn't care about it at all. And in the following conversation, he also figured it out. The reason why Tsunade brought Kushina to live at home was because after being with her, motherly love suddenly overflowed. Do you feel pity for Kushina? What a magical look! You know, although Tsunade loves peace, she is actually a very high-quality ninja. She will not sympathize with a child just because she thinks her life experience is pitiful. This is true even if this person is her distant relative, Kushina of the Uzumaki clan. Ninjas don't have that much mercy to give to others. Of course, Orochimaru would definitely not refuse this matter, and he also wanted to see how Konoha's top brass would react. The result seems to be expected. Because of Tsunade, the higher UPS in Konoha who were supposed to stop this behavior did not step in to stop it. Originally, Uzumaki Kushina was the nine-tailed Jinhyuriki, and it was absolutely not allowed to live with other ninjas outside the scope of Konoha's surveillance. There was nothing wrong with living with other ninjas, but the top management of Konoha obviously couldn't let others discover the secret that Kushina was a Jinhyuriki. But if the person they asked to live with was Tsunade, they really couldn't say anything. Because Tsunade is not only the princess of the Senju clan, but she can also use wood escape. Having wood release means that sooner or later she will have to deal with Jinchuriki. Therefore, after they discussed it, they did not reject the proposal. Because of this, during the following period, two people moved into Orochimaru's house. Tsunade and Kushina. Look at Orochimaru busy in the kitchen. Kushina, who had already had special emotions towards Orochimaru, was surprised again. Is this really one of the three ninjas who is invincible on the battlefield? Isn't that incredible? Thinking of this, she subconsciously looked at Tsunade next to her. At this time, Tsunade was staring at the busy figure in the kitchen with an intoxicated face, and did not notice Kushina's eyes at all. This is happiness, it looks like this, Kushina thought. In June of Konoha 34, the defense change work at Konoha's border had begun. Many teams in Konoha have already rushed to the front line. Naoki and Hinata Hisashi are now strong enough, and have participated in many battles with Orochimaru, and have a certain amount of battlefield experience. So this time on the battlefield, they will act alone, while Orochimaru will bring a new group of people. Tsunade must be a little worried about Naoki joining another team, but the war doesn't allow her to think too much. What's more, Orochimaru said that the current rope tree, after advanced strengthening, is no less powerful than an ordinary jounin. Even on the battlefield, it will never die so easily. So she felt relieved. Orochimaru-sama, please take care of me. Orochimaru-sama, Mikoto, I'll leave it to you. On the street below the Hokage building, Orochimaru was a little surprised when he saw the first newcomer who came to report to him. Uchiha Mikoto? It seems to be very predestined. On the battlefield, because the balance of the team is important, it is difficult for these family forces to have two clansmen assigned to one team. Therefore, it is normal for Uchiha clan members to appear in their own team. It is indeed fate. Orochimaru nodded and looked at Uchiha Akiera next to him. Don't worry, although we are going to the battlefield in a team of 6 people this time, there are 2 jounin in the team, so the danger should not be great. I will definitely feel relieved if an adult leads the team. Uchiha Akiera said respectfully. He was not flattering, but telling the truth. The reason why Konoha chose to let 2 jounin stay in the same team this time is because the casualties in the last war were too great. A jounin with 5 rookies cannot protect him at all. I remember last time, most of the ninja teams had attrition, and some teams were even wiped out due to the drag of the rookies. Although Konoha later the strategy was changed in time, but Orochimaru's team did not make any changes. Because he didn't need it at all. Not only did he achieve great success with 5 rookies, but there was no attrition. From this point of view, it is enough. This shows Orochimaru's ability to lead the team. Uchiha Akiera gave Mikoto a few words, turned around and left with his team. After Uchiha Akiera left, Orochimaru looked at the black-haired girl in front of him and fell into deep thought. Don't say, the current Uchiha Mikoto, wearing a ninja outfit, looks quite like that. The front is bulging and the back is curved, nonsense. This teenage Lolita, who has just grown up, does have a curvy back, but where is the protrusion in the front? Besides, what's wrong with you? Orochimaru frowned slightly. Since having sex with Tsunade, not only has Tsunade's sexual harmony interest opened up, but he also seems to have developed a strong interest in women. That, sir, when shall we set off? Uchiha Mikoto's voice interrupted Orochimaru's thoughts. Meet at the entrance of the village at 9 o'clock tomorrow morning. Then I am now. You go somewhere with me first. Orochimaru said directly. Uchiha Mikoto was a little puzzled, but she still followed Orochimaru obediently. The two of them had just taken 2 steps when another Uchiha clan figure walked over. The two sides brushed against each other. They passed each other, but there was no intersection. But because of this, Orochimaru was doubly confused. Looking at Uchiha Mikoto, who looked calm in front of him, Orochimaru slowly said, Mikoto, don't you say hello to your tribe? My people? Uchiha Mikoto was stunned, then turned to look behind him and suddenly realized the person you are talking about. I have met him in the clan, but we are not very familiar with him. Didn't Uchiha Fugaku and Uchiha Mikoto know each other very well when they were young? What the hell? Uchiha Fugaku and Uchiha Mikoto. According to Orochimaru's logic, if the two grow up to be husband and wife, then they should have had some kind of relationship when they were young. Just like the original 12 heroes of Konoha. Sasuke and Sakura, Sat and Ino, have known each other since childhood. But if you think about it carefully, it seems reasonable that the two of them are not familiar with each other. Because the age difference between the two is 4 or 5 years. Reading is at different levels, and fighting ability is not at the same level either. And because they are both Uchiha, they are usually not in the same group. In addition, it is now World War II, and everyone is busy fighting. So, is it normal that the two of them don't have time to get to know each other? Forget it, let's go. Shaked his head and stopped thinking. It was none of his business anyway. Orochimaru took Uchiha Mikoto and turned left and right, and finally came to the Scientific Ninja Tool Laboratory in Konoha village. Lord Orochimaru, this is... Uchiha Mikoto looked at the unfamiliar things around her and suddenly became a little uneasy. Don't be nervous, I just asked you to support the work. Orochimaru smiled faintly. There is no doubt that Orochimaru was trying to get blood. At first, he had thought about finding some excuse, but then he thought about it, why did he need any excuse? It was just to get blood. It's not eye-catching. As long as there is a suitable opportunity, there is no reason for her not to cooperate. Support work. Obviously, Uchiha Mikoto was a little surprised when she heard Orochimaru's words, but after hearing Orochimaru's story about just drawing some blood, she naturally had no objection. A moment later. Thank you for your cooperation. Orochimaru looked at the blood in the blood collector in his hand and said calmly. As long as I can help you, my lord, it doesn't matter. Uchiha Mikoto lowered her head with a slightly red face. Yet. Seeing this scene, Orochimaru was stunned, then raised his lips, put the blood aside, and rubbed Uchiha Mikoto's head. You can go back. Just meet at the entrance of the village tomorrow morning. Yes, grown-ups. Uchiha Mikoto was rubbed on the head by Orochimaru, and she blushed a little, but she didn't say much. She covered her arm and turned around to leave. Orochimaru, who was sitting in his seat, looked at this figure that looked slightly slim back, lost in thought. At night, Tsunade was chatting with Kushina in the living room. Naoki had gone to the front line, but Orochimaru had stayed in the backyard since he came back from the laboratory. At this time, he was staring at a big tree in front of him, thinking about something in his heart. No, it should be said that he was staring at a target on the tree and thinking about something. This big tree was created by Tsunade using wood release, just to make this empty yard less monotonous. And this target was hung up by Orochimaru for training. It seems that I still think too much. Uchiha Mikoto is just mentally stronger than other clan members, but she does not have the potential to awaken the Mangeki. Orochimaru murmured to himself. After speaking, he slowly raised his hand, and the space in front of him fluctuated. A specially made kunao appeared in his hand. Forget it, let's try this. Flip your wrist, hold the kunao, raise your hand and flick it. Ta! The kunao stabs the center of the target with a black light. Whoosh! In the next moment, Orochimaru's figure disappeared from the place, and again appeared and arrived at the target. Feeling the speed of his body jumping in space, Orochimaru frowned slightly. The speed of jumping in this space seems to be still not as fast as Namikaze Minato in memory. What exactly is going on? The Flying Thunder God technique in his memory, as long as it is marked in advance, a single thought can be transmitted. And it does not require any preparatory actions. But after obtaining this technique, Orochimaru realized that this technique also has a principle of operation. The mark of the Flying Thunder God is actually the mark of mental power. If you want to achieve space teleportation, you need to connect your own mental power with the mark of your own Flying Thunder God, so as to achieve space jump. The speed of getting in touch with kunao is related to your transmission speed. How fast? And how to quickly get in touch with the mark you threw out. It all depends on your own mental strength. The stronger the mental strength, the stronger the control of chakra, the stronger the control of chakra, and the stronger the control of chakra. The faster the own mark can get in touch, the faster the Flying Thunder God will naturally be transmitted. At this point, someone may ask, if the Flying Thunder God's transmission speed depends on spiritual power, then if someone from the Uchiha or Hyuga clan uses the Flying Thunder God, will it be faster than Namikaze Minato? Yes, theoretically it is true. I power represents spiritual power. The mental power of Uchiha or Hyuga clan members is indeed stronger than that of ordinary ninjas. No matter how strong Namikaze Minato's mental power is, he is just a civilian ninja. Even if his mental power is stronger than that of the Uchiha tribesman with 3 Megatama, it is impossible to be stronger than the Uchiha tribesman with Kaleidoscope. Therefore, theoretically speaking, he cannot use the speed of Flying Thunder God to be as fast as Uchiha tribesman. The people of the Bo clan are fast. But, this is only theoretical. Because if you want to learn Flying Thunder God, mental strength is simply secondary. The most important thing is that you must have the talent to learn the time and space ninjutsu. And it also requires the most top-notch time and space talent. It's definitely not possible for someone to know a little bit of psychic skills. Otherwise, the third Hokage and Danzo would have met long ago. Orochimaru guessed that the original Orochimaru didn't know how to do it, and it was probably because his talent for time and space ninjutsu was not high enough, or he came into contact with the Flying Thunder God a little late, which caused problems with his soul. Otherwise it doesn't make sense at all. Of course Orochimaru is not thinking about this now. He only knows that his kaleidoscope eye power now proves his spatial talent. Otherwise definitely you can't learn this stuff. However, when I have the talent and mental strength, why can't my space jump speed be as fast as Minato's in my memory? Is the technique still in need of improvement? Or lack of space talent? Orochimaru is a little confused. Hey, Orochimaru! What's wrong? Kushina is asleep, we I see. Hearing this, Orochimaru frowned, smiled and took Tsunade into his arms. Tsunade, I can only feel my existence when I am with you. Yet, I will end this war as soon as possible. Well, I believe you. Orochimaru smiled, and without waiting for Tsunade's reaction, he directly put his hand into Tsunade's clothes. Even though I have used them many times, I still like your pair. No, Orochimaru, don't stay here, Kushina will wait. It's okay, just keep your voice down. After saying that, Orochimaru ignored Tsunade's objections, and after a prelude, he pressed her against the big tree. He didn't care at all about the little red-haired girl in the living room who got up to drink water because she was thirsty and peeked at them. Orochimaru himself lost his parents, and after coming to this world, he still had no relatives or friends. He couldn't feel at home in Konoha, let alone feel his own presence. In the beginning, in order to survive, he practiced hard, conducted scientific research seriously, went to the battlefield for trials, and cooperated with Danzo. Later, in order to find something to do for himself, he set a goal. That is to use his own power to unify the entire ninja world. But this goal is a bit far away, and it will be tiring on the way to achieve it. Orochimaru would even feel confused from time to time. Why are you working so hard? Alive? Prevent Uchiha Madara's resurrection? If that was all, my own strength would have been enough. Because it doesn't require much power to prevent Uchiha Madara from being resurrected, just a random layout. As for unifying the ninja world? What benefits does unifying the ninja world have for you? What's the point of doing this yourself? Orochimaru would be really confused and would often not understand. Therefore, sometimes he needs to find the value of his existence through some special methods. In the ninja world, many people are looking for the value of their existence through strange methods. For example, Gaara in the early stages of the original work felt his existence through killing people. Haku because Zabuza. Nagato because of Yahiko and Konan. Kimimaro because of Orochimaru. There are many kinds of these ways, whether they are people, things, power, or wills. In short, it is to find a reason to continue living. The same is true for Orochimaru now. But he did it because of Tsunade. Only when he has sex with Tsunade can he truly feel that he is still alive. On the other side, the little red-haired girl, who was hiding in the shadows, looked at everything in the yard with her mouth open in the moonlight. "On, what did you see?" Kushina was a little confused. Although she was only 10 years old, ninjas matured precociously. Although she was not particularly clear about what the two of them were doing, she still knew a little bit about it. The two adults were actually in the backyard. Isn't this incredible? She had no idea that Tsunade, who was usually strong-willed and somewhat irritable, would be so obedient in front of Orochimaru. And is that thing edible? Otherwise, why would Tsunade-sama enjoy eating so much? Kushina blushed and covered her mouth with heartbeat, fearing that she would make any noise, then she quietly retreated to her room and quickly covered herself with the quilt. But her face was still very hot, and the scenes just now were lingering in her mind. Their words, movements, looks, and expressions all stimulated, harmoniously, her 5 senses. Moreover, Tsunade-sama's breasts are really big. Well? What are you thinking about? Kushina quickly covered her head with the quilt, trying to forget all this. Early the next morning, Orochimaru and Tsunade got up early and arrived at the entrance of the village while Kushina was still sleeping. The war will still continue, but this time, all Orochimaru's subordinates have changed. In addition to Uchiha Mikoto, there is 1 Jounin and 3 Choyunin. None of Orochimaru could name him, but they were extremely respectful to Orochimaru. When they knew they would join Orochimaru's team yesterday, both of them were extremely excited. Even the Jounin named Lu was a little surprised. He could actually team up with Orochimaru, one of the 3 ninjas? This is incredible. Let's go. After Orochimaru arrived at the entrance of the village, he waved his hands casually to everyone. He has experienced too many wars. There is no need for pre-war mobilization and pre-war speeches. At most, after arriving on the battlefield, he can understand everyone's ability is enough. Orochimaru and Tsunade are still separated. After all, they do not belong to the same type of ninja. Orochimaru does not care about this. Anyway, during the war, he has no time to have a romantic relationship with Tsunade. This time the battle is still conducted in teams. Orochimaru led a few people to the Sand Ninja battlefield quickly. Facing this boring war, Orochimaru has no interest in it, but he still fights every battle carefully. Scouting flies, little black, 10,000 snakes, no one is missing. As for the Sand Ninja, after knowing that Orochimaru entered the battlefield, they became cautious in attacking again. The third Kazekage was also very annoyed, but there was nothing he could do about Orochimaru. Because Cho died, he had lost his son, and now he had no fighting spirit. And in Konoha, there were the Sunin and Hotaki Sakumo. With one thing going the other way, the Suna ninja had no way to fight. Less than a year after Orochimaru entered the battlefield, the Suna ninja caught in a dilemma. Attack? With Orochimaru and Hotaki Sakumo, they couldn't get in. Retreat? He was very unwilling. So after thinking for a moment, he made an important decision. The Kingdom of Sichuan is a small country between the Kingdom of Fire and the Kingdom of Wind. During the war, the small country between the two big countries will undoubtedly become the battlefield of the big country. Just like the land of rain before it. But now, although the two countries also have fighting points in the country of rain, due to the previous strength of Sancho Hanzo, most of the fighting has been transferred to the country of Sichuan. In a lofty mountain in the Kingdom of Sichuan, 5 figures were hiding behind boulders on both sides of the road, quietly waiting for something. Uchiha Mikoto was wearing uniform, carrying a ninja sword on her back, hiding behind a stone, looking at Orochimaru's back, her eyes full of admiration. In the past nearly a year, she had witnessed Orochimaru's countless battles, and she knew how different the Sunin were from ordinary ninjas. Even if they are both Jounin, they are not on the same level at all. Even if the opponent's 5 Jounin tried their best, they couldn't do anything to Orochimaru. With a guy like this in the village, how could other villages attack him? Mikoto! Mikoto! Yes, yes! Uchiha Mikoto came back to her senses and quickly answered. Orochimaru frowned on the battlefield, don't be distracted. Hug, sorry, Orochimaru-sama. Okay, let's not talk about this. Our intelligence position is here, right? Hearing this, Uchiha Mikoto looked at the map, and then looked at the surrounding terrain. According to the map, it is indeed here. That's good. Well, Lord Orochimaru, may I ask, who are we planning to ambush when we come here? Even you. Ambush who? Orochimaru curled his lips. I don't know either, but according to the intelligence, it should be the third Kazekage. Varied, what? 3, the third Kazekage. Hearing Orochimaru's answer, Uchiha Mikoto was completely stunned. She originally wanted to say that this was the first time she saw Orochimaru being so serious, thinking that the enemy should also be a very strong ninja. But I didn't expect it to be the third Kazekage? Are you kidding me? Who is the third Kazekage? That is the highest authority in Sand Ninja Village. He is also the supreme leader of the Sand Ninja. Such a character would usually not go to the battlefield in person, so how could he be here? Uchiha Mikoto was incredible, and so were Orochimaru's other teammates. Big, Lord Orochimaru, is this a lie? It cannot be. Do we really want to ambush the third Kazekage? The target of the ambush is actually the third Kazekage? This is simply shocking to hear, okay? That is the strongest Kazekage in history. Just a few of them? Delivering food? After hearing the words of several people, Orochimaru said lightly. Originally I really shouldn't have brought you here, but the information was received halfway, and I'm too lazy to change people. Real, is it really the third Kazekage? Lord Orochimaru. Cheat, is that a lie? Several teammates were really frightened. Just 5 of them, ambushing the third Kazekage? Are you sure you're not mistaken? Yes, there are only 5 of them now. There used to be a group of 6, but one of them was accidentally killed. They fell into the enemy's trap. Although Orochimaru noticed the trap in time and pulled the man was still disabled by the explosion. So now there are only 5 of them. And of these 5, except for the superior named Lu in addition to the ninja, the other 3 are Chunin who have just entered the battlefield less than a year ago. Although the battlefield experience is enough, the combat effectiveness is too low. Such a lineup, let alone the Kazekage, even if they are here, if there are more Jonin, everyone except Orochimaru will probably have to die. Big, grown-ups. Uchiha Mikoto hesitated to speak, but nothing came out. Can she say she is scared? It's okay, you go and set the trap first, I will give you time to retreat. Orochimaru said calmly. This, Ryu was stunned for a moment, then nodded decisively. Okay, I understand, you two, follow me. After all, the Jounin's decisiveness is faster than that of the Chunin. The 2 Chunin looked at each other and nodded to each other. Yes. Yes. The hills to the west of Kawa no Kuni. Konoha and Sand Ninja are having an encounter here. They were jumping around, looking for cover, and throwing hidden weapons at the same time. Whizzing! 2 shurikens suddenly flew out of the forest and instantly hit a Konoha ninja who was flying in the air. Boom! A burst of white smoke flashed, and the Konoha ninja turned into a wooden stake. Substitution. Got it. Not that easy. Clang! The swords collided, and sparks flew everywhere. The 2 of them flew back at the same time. As soon as the Sand Ninja landed, a Konoha ninja rushed out from the side. He held a kunao in his hand, and the kunao shone with a cold light and stabbed straight Sand Ninja heart. Go to hell! Bah! Metal penetrated into the flesh, and blood spattered. The Sand Ninja's eyes widened and he slowly fell to the ground. But before he died, there was a hint of madness in his eyes. Bah! Boom! A huge explosion sounded instantly. This Sand Ninja's eyes widened. The ninja temporarily attached 2 detonating charms to this Konoha ninja. The Konoha ninja was directly blown out and lay dying on the ground. In the chaos, another Suna ninja quickly rushed over and wiped his neck. There was a fight. The sounds and explosions were mixed together. The 2 sides encountered each other, and if you were not careful, you would lose your life. This is war. However, although the 2 of them died together just now, in this encounter, Konoha still had the upper hand. After all, there was a gap in morale and numbers between the 2 sides. But just when the Konoha ninjas were about to drive out the Suna ninjas, suddenly, a strong wind blew up. Several Konoha ninjas could not open their eyes due to the strong wind. What happened? Reinforcements. Careful! Whoosh whoosh! Countless black substances roared with the strong wind, as dense as raindrops, and hit the Konoha ninja overwhelmingly. Ah! The Konoha ninja let out a scream, and blood sprayed all over his body instantly. The black matter is so dense that there is no way to hide. Hateful, what on earth is this? Hey, that's... In the jungle, a man with a killer haircut slowly walked out. He was wearing a white robe and had sharp eyes. Judging from his momentum alone, he should be a super strong man. This momentum, the Konoha ninja glanced at the black substance next to him with a sharp look. This is, sand iron? Are you, the third Kazekage? What? The third Kazekage? The Konoha ninjas were very surprised. They looked at the man who just appeared with a look of disbelief. How is it possible that Kazekage would appear here like this? Yes, How could it be? Don't leave a single person alive. The third Kazekage didn't talk nonsense and directly issued the order. Yes. As soon as he finished speaking, countless Tsunagaku Merjonin flew out from the jungle and instantly surrounded the Konoha ninjas. Goodbye. Die. As the sand ninjas drew their swords, the screams of the Konoha ninjas quickly resounded throughout the hills. Swish, swish, swish. After countless jounin eliminated the enemy, they flashed in front of the third Kazekage. Lord Kazekage, everything is solved. The third Kazekage nodded slightly. Are you sure that Orochimaru's range of activities is in this area? Yes, Lord Kazekage, according to our information, someone else saw traces of Orochimaru's team at the foot of the mountain ahead in the morning. That's good. Let's go. Yes. The third Kazekage swung his white robe and took the lead in running towards the destination. The third Kazekage? Yes, he is the third Kazekage. The highest combat power in Sand Ninja Village at present. He is also known as the strongest Kazekage in history. A man. Why is such a man here? This matter has to start when Orochimaru came to the Suna Ninja defense line. As we all know, ninjas usually sense first when fighting. And Orochimaru, because there are invisible flies to help with the investigation, he is also on his way. Using a clone to walk in front, coupled with his own perception ability, made all the traps and concealment methods of Suna Ninja useless against him. In every battle, he can almost take the lead. With Orochimaru's current strength, he still beats them strike first? Can they save anything? There must be no rescue. So after Orochimaru came to the battlefield, the Sand Ninjas had no choice but to follow the order to abandon the mission directly after seeing it. This resulted in their no matter how long the battle line is, the war cannot continue. You know, this time Konoha has piled a large number of troops on the Suna Ninja defense line. In other words, this defense line not only has Orochimaru, but also there is Hatake Sakumo. Two Konoha ninjas who must give up their missions when they meet are running around on the battlefield. You think this battle is going to be fought like this? So, if he wants to continue the war, he must kill one person first. Only then. So, here he comes. The Suna Ninja wants to continue this war. So the third Kazekage personally went out to snipe Orochimaru. As long as either Orochimaru or Hatake Sakumo is eliminated, his subordinates can be active on the battlefield. He wants to kill Orochimaru, and on the other side, Orochimaru also wants to kill him. Because the two armies are fighting, carrying out a beheading operation is the fastest way. As long as the Kazekage is killed, the Sand Ninja will be leaderless and naturally unable to organize an effective attack. It's just that the Kingdom of Wind is so big, and Orochimaru can't fly. In this case, it is difficult to find the opponent's shadow, let alone challenge him to a duel. Therefore, he can only look for traces of enemies on the battlefield, and then snipe them one by one. He believed that his actions would definitely attract the powerful Sun Ninjas. As more and more powerful people are killed and their strength becomes stronger and stronger, unless the opponent permanently retreats, it will only be a matter of time before Feng Ying takes action. As expected, he received information from the Konoha Intelligence Department yesterday morning. The intelligence said that the third Kazekage was preparing to go out, and the target should be himself or Hatake Sakumo, so he should be careful and wait for support. And there is also a rough sniper route drawn on it. That's where I am now. So he just brought his people over to counterattack. Lord Orochimaru, can we really do this? After setting up the trap, Uchiha Mikoto, who hid behind Orochimaru again, asked weakly. The other person was the Kazekage. How could the trap they had laid in a hurry be useful? Hearing this, Orochimaru turned his head. He glanced at her. Are you scared? Uchiha Mikoto lowered her head in shame. Can she not be afraid? Not everyone has your Orochimaru's strength. Orochimaru said calmly, don't be afraid, if you see the Kazekage later, I will give you a chance to retreat. That, how about you? Orochimaru curled his lips. Of course I will stay to end this war. Well? You. Stop talking, someone is coming. In the jungle, dozens of figures are running wildly. The third Kazekage led the team and was escorted by more than a dozen jonin. They should be around here, so be careful. Yes. Etc. The third Kazekage suddenly made a stop gesture. Without his instructions, several perceptive ninjas quickly used their perceptual abilities. Soon, they sensed the number of hidden enemies and exchanged information with each other. Reported the situation to the third Kazekage. After listening to the report of these perceptive ninjas, the third Kazekage smiled coldly, and then waved his hand. The sand ninjas immediately understood and dispersed the team instantly. The siege surrounded the mountains in front of them. Guys in Konoha, I found you, come out and die. His voice was cold and full of confidence. Damn it, was it discovered? How, what to do, Lord Orochimaru? I don't want to die yet. Big, Lord Orochimaru. Oops, ouch, I originally wanted to stage an ambush, but it seems like a big shot is here this time. Orochimaru leisurely walked out from behind the hidden boulder, pretending to be ignorant and regretfully said. Several Konoha ninjas also held weapons and followed Orochimaru out. There is no way, in this situation, just hide. Maybe they are waiting to die. It is always safer to follow Orochimaru. This is the experience they have summed up during this period of time when they followed Orochimaru on missions. However, looking at the 30 or 40 sand ninjas surrounding them, they were really scared. Even the Jounin and Uchiha Mikoto couldn't help but tremble with their hands holding the ninja sword. At this time, they still didn't understand why Orochimaru brought them to ambush the Kazekage. Hey? And just bring a few of them here? This is simply impossible. Are you Orochimaru? The third Kazekage was straightforward, without any sloppiness. Right. Looking at the man opposite him with pale skin and flowing long hair, the third Kazekage snorted disdainfully. Humph, that's all. But that's it. Orochimaru curled his lips. I thought that the famous Sunin in the ninja world was a very troublesome guy. The third Kazekage glanced coldly at Uchiha Mikoto and others behind Orochimaru. But now, are you looking down on me? Whoosh whoosh. Whoosh. As soon as he finished speaking, countless kunai with detonating talismans came from all directions, shooting directly at Orochimaru and the 5 of them. Before Orochimaru could move, the Jounin next to him fired his hands, but it flew quickly and then pressed to the ground. Earth release, earth corridor. Boom. The 4 earth walls rose from the ground and surrounded the 5 people in an instant. The detonating talisman hit the earth wall and sent out countless explosions. And soon smoke and dust were everywhere. Lord Orochimaru, boom! The Jonin Ryu was a little nervous, but before he could finish his words, he saw a line of white smoke rising up. Immediately afterwards, the purple patterned python that they had seen several times appeared under their feet. The giant python crushed the surrounding earth walls. Hey, Orochimaru! Wan Shi, take them away first. Good. Facing Orochimaru, Wan Shi is very obedient now and never asks why. Although it is very unhappy with other guys standing on its head. Wan Shi received the order and led 4 people to break out quickly, but Orochimaru jumped off Wan Shi. At this time. Boom. 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 Earth escape. Earth solid wall. The sand ninjas are not vegetarians either. Huge earth walls were raised one after another in an attempt to stop Wan Shi from leaving. But Wan Shi is not only extremely powerful, but her body is also extremely sensitive. If you can dodge, just dodge, if you can't dodge, just run away. It can be said that if a snake wants to leave, very few people can stop it. The third Kazekage looked at the rampaging Wan Shi and frowned, preparing to use his own ability to keep Wan Shi back. Suddenly, Boom! There was a loud bang. The ground he was on collapsed instantly, and was surrounded by a circle formed by countless iron walls. Earth escape. Earth prison. The collapsed ground and the surrounding iron walls instantly formed a dual field. When the smoke cleared, the third-generation Kazekage's eyes were slightly stern. Because he found that he and Orochimaru were the only ones left in the entire duel? What happened? This kid wants to challenge me to a duel? Are you using your companions as bait to take away your subordinates? No, it is impossible for all of his subordinates to be taken away. What? Looking at the several corpses on the ground around him, the third Kazekage was finally surprised. Killed? When? This way, no one will bother us, right? Lord Kazekage.